public comment for closed session items. And we have folks who have filled out the form, so I'll call you up. A reminder, you have 3 minutes. Okay. Emily Haleday.
Do roll call first.
Oh, you do roll call first?
Sorry about that. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we do that.
Trustee Dickinson,
Here, present.
trustee Edmondson,
Present.
trustee Donnelly,
Present.
trustee Jackson Miller, present, trustee Gray.
Present. Okay.
Hi, so my name's Emily Halbig.
I'm Whitney Damiani, and we're with PVFT Paro Federation of Teachers, wanting to support this union.
My son is an 8th grader here at New Brighton and I'm a middle school teacher myself in Pajaro Valley. And we are both on the negotiations team for our union, and what we see in terms of the disparity of what this district is offering in pay and benefits compared to what we get in our district. We think it's just ridiculous, and we'd like to see these teachers get a raise, get paid what they deserve, and also see a higher contribution towards their benefits.
Absolutely. We're barely scraping by, and we're making more money than our teachers. I don't know how they're doing it. We really encourage you to not only raise their salaries, meet them, they're making a very reasonable request at 3%, and make it so they're not contributing quite so much to the benefits. I pay nothing for mine, and I am grateful for that.
And when you put your teachers first, you're putting your students first.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Maletta.
Okay. Good evening. I was here a couple months ago. My name is Mary, and I have 4 kids, 2 at Santa Cruz Gardens and 2 at New Brighton. And my kids have thrived at these schools because of the educators who make these communities possible. And unfortunately, in the last decade, I've watched us lose exceptional teachers to Santa Clara County. And these are teachers who built the programs, created traditions, and shaped the culture of our schools. These weren't people who stopped loving their jobs. They were people who simply could not afford to stay here. Just last year, Santa Cruz Gardens lost a beloved veteran teacher who helped build many of the programs and traditions that are now the backbone of our school. All of us parents are here tonight because we want our kids in this district. We don't want them in a private school or homeschool or a different district. We want them in this one, and we're here for our teachers and our kids. And we want to know, what is this district doing to ensure that the teachers who dedicate their careers to this town and to our children can afford to live here and stay?
Yes.
At the recent community forum, we heard that there's only so much that can be done about salaries, and that we should focus on making our schools appealing for teachers to stay. But appealing doesn't pay rent, and it doesn't cover medical bills, and it doesn't keep experienced teachers in our classrooms. At the last board meeting, we heard from a Main Street teacher, I'm not sure if she's here, who can no longer afford to follow her doctor's orders and is now delaying medical procedures because of cost. That should stop all of us in our tracks. In what world is this acceptable for the people educating our kids? We all understand the district's budget constraints and the need for fiscal solvency. We also understand your enrollment challenges, and we also believe that each of you is here because you want what is best for our teachers and kids. And so we are asking you to do what feels like the impossible. Please make fair and competitive teacher contracts a non-negotiable priority while keeping each of our schools open. This is where each of your leadership and resolve matters the most. Because the long-term cost of losing experienced educators is not theoretical. It shows up in our classrooms, and our kids are the ones that carry that cost. Thank you. Yes.
Melissa McConville.
Hi, my name is Melissa McConville, and I'm here tonight as a parent of a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and an almost TKer at Main Street Elementary, and as a proud supporter of public education and this community. Over the years, our family has been absolutely blessed with incredible teachers who have not only shaped the way my children learn, but who they are becoming. Our teachers are not just a part of our community, they are the fabric of it. They are the heartbeat. And like all of us working community members, we are all here hopefully to do what we are passionate about while also be able to afford our livelihood. So I was genuinely shocked to learn that our teachers are not receiving a raise this year. We are already the lowest paying district in this area, while all the costs in this area continue to rise. This message is very troubling. Cut costs at all costs, and this is not okay. If we don't pay our teachers more, they will leave. And experienced quality teachers are not replaceable. Community is built over time through trust, consistency, and care. It's not complicated. The reasons the teachers deserve a raise are so clear. First, the cost of living. The Central Coast is one of the most expensive places to live in California, and many teachers are struggling to afford basic needs. Second, the role of teachers has expanded. They don't just teach academics. They're here to support our students' emotional well-being, adapt to diverse learning needs, communicate with families, and work countless hours beyond the school day. Third, retention matters. Competitive pay keeps experienced educators in our classrooms, which directly benefits our students through stability and strong relationships. At Main Street, when you walk into Miss Lucas's classroom, the respect she commands reflects over a decade of experience. Miss Martin's 25 years of wisdom brings structure and confidence to her students. And Miss Lowe's joy and passion makes learning not only engaging, but so much fun. These educators are irreplaceable, and I'm willing to fight for them. I've watched teacher friends who live in Santa Cruz County, so many, take jobs over the hill because they're paid more. They feel supported and experience less stress, and they're happier, and that should concern all of us. If teachers can't afford to live here, the stress will eventually force them to leave, and our students will pay for it. Our district will pay for it. And as families who can afford to, they'll send their kids to private schools where they think the education is better. It's already happening. Private and alternative schools in our area are at an all-time high enrollment, while our public schools enrollment is dwindling. Many of these transfers reflect losing strong teachers and families not feeling heard by the district.
It's time.
Anna Beard?
Hello. So I want to begin by saying that I fully understand and appreciate how difficult budget decisions are. Resources are limited, costs continue to rise, and every dollar must be carefully weighed. Schools, like any organization, are forced to make hard decisions. But just like in the corporate world, long-term success depends on one thing above all: investing in people. For schools, that means ensuring teachers are paid a salary that allows them to live in the communities they serve and have access to affordable healthcare. The most important asset of a school is not the building or the technology or the desks, it's the teachers. A school is a place where children either thrive or quietly begin to disengage. And that makes the difference almost always comes down to the adults standing in front of them every day. Not every school is fortunate to have experienced, knowledgeable teachers who inspire students, who reach children who don't fit the traditional norm, who struggle academically, or need somebody to challenge them to become the best version of themselves. Our school is extremely fortunate. We have teachers who consistently go above and beyond with deep care and commitment to our children. And yet we ask these same teachers to do the impossible. We ask them to teach math, science, reading, writing. We ask them to support social and emotional learning. We ask them to manage growing class sizes. We ask them to purchase their own supplies sometimes. And we ask them to carry the weight of our children's future, often while struggling to afford the cost in the community that they serve. As a parent and as a resident, I want our children and our community to thrive. Strong schools protect and enhance the district's reputation attract families, build long-term stability. And unfortunately, I know firsthand what happens when teachers are not paid competitively. I grew up in a town underfunded. I experienced an educational system burned out teachers who chronically were absent, limited resources, books taken away from us, teachers who criticized instead of encouraged, and the teachers who truly made a difference in my life eventually left to go to schools in the next town. The impact was clear: low test scores, low graduating rates, declining enrollment. But it didn't stop there. The long-term reputation of the town suffered. Young families choose to move elsewhere once they had children, to communities with stronger schools, well-supported teachers. This is a future we risk if we don't act now. When districts fail to offer competitive pay, they struggle to hire and retain qualified educators, including in critical areas like special education. Turnover increase, morale declines, teacher burnout is going to reduce the time and the energy they can spend with our children. It's important to acknowledge that the state has recently increased overall school funding. That matters. It signals recognition at the highest. What was that?
5 seconds.
Okay. Well, okay, it's not going to get to the end of this. I'm going to find somebody to take my other second half. That was important.
Lily Bell.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Liliana Bell, and I would like to begin by thanking everyone who came here in support of our underpaid, hardworking teachers. Teachers who put their all into giving students and children a better education in life. And I would like to ask the board why. Why are these teachers undeserving of a pay grade equivalent to the effort they put into the future of our children? 3 years ago, I stood before this board, stood before faces I recognize. And I spoke on this exact same issue. The fact that I have to stand here before you again to share my opinions and thoughts on this as a student again saddens me incredibly. I grew up in this district, went to SoCal Elementary and New Brighton Middle School. These places hold a special place in my heart, but it's not because of the locations, but the teachers who helped me to become the person I am today. The teachers who taught me that I enjoy reading and writing. It's something I'd love to do. I would not have known that without the help from Mr. Z. The teachers who taught me that you can have fun while doing math equations like Mr. Foster and Ms. Krupp. These are teachers who have impacted my life and have helped me to grow into someone who enjoys learning. I have watched teachers come and go from this district because the district refuses to offer a livable salary. Close to half of the educators in this district are actively seeking higher paying jobs for the next school year. Those roles are not easily filled. You cannot simply put long-term substitutes in the place of educated teachers and expect it to be okay. Children placed in your care by parents that trust you are not going to learn well from people who are not fully educated in how to teach them and aid them. You cannot expect a brand new staff of entirely new teachers to be able to run classrooms smoothly without the aid of their senior teachers. I, for one, as a student, know that when a substitute is placed in charge of a class, regardless of their qualifications, it does not run smoothly. Kids are goofing off. They're not able to get the aid they need because these substitutes, although they're learning, do not know everything our teachers do. We need our teachers, and we also need them to be healthy. They should not have to hold off on seeking medical attention due to the lack of healthcare provided by this board. Teachers should not be paying $1,400 a month out of pocket simply to be able to stay healthy and show up for our kids. Not only this, but as a board, you've neglected to raise healthcare benefits since 2015. I'm a sophomore in high school. That's the year I started kindergarten at SoCal Elementary, completely disregarding the fact that healthcare costs have continued to climb since then.
10 seconds left.
Not only this, but healthcare has skyrocketed, so has COLA. In the past 5 years, COLA has increased approximately 23.5%, and in the past year, 2.7%, and yet you refuse to raise their salary.
Sarah Tanza.
I
Thank you all for being here. I know you guys are tasked with the impossible, and just everyone take a breath. I know this is a lot to have all of us come at you. We appreciate you guys being here and listening to all of us tonight. My name is Sarah Tanza. I'm a parent at Main Street Elementary School. I'm also a proud graduate of Main Street Elementary School and New Brighton Middle School in the SoCal Union School District. Growing up then and still today, we have so many amazing teachers that so many of us can look back on as pivotal figures in our lives. As a parent now, I never knew how hard it would be as a parent to try to explain to our children why teachers are not getting paid a living wage, even though they're doing the most important job, right, guys? We talked about that on the way to the school, and it's really confusing for all of us, huh? Yeah. I want every single one of you here to ask yourself, think about what you do. I know you guys are all so busy in your day-to-day lives. How well could you focus on your important work while also having to think about how to cut costs at home, go without recommended medical care, worrying about rising housing costs, and simply not have the budget to do the little extra things that make all of our lives more fun? On top of poor pay, the issues with healthcare for teachers and the meager contributions from this district, it's shameful. And they should have the option to opt out of healthcare plans that they don't want. It made me so sad to have teachers in our lives that we know having this money go out of their paycheck every single month that they could so desperately use, even when their spouse has healthcare for them. That needs to be something we can easily change. As teachers continue to be grossly underpaid in our district, they will leave. We've seen this. We've also seen students leaving our district and choosing to pay tens of thousands of dollars a year to attend these local private schools. Think about that. I mean, families that I know, $90,000 now out the door from Main Street Elementary School for the 3 kids that are going to Montessori, right? We see this money leaving every single day. We will continue to see enrollment drop, unfortunately. We are making our teachers choose between having a good life for themselves and our children having a good education. Our teachers are having to make that choice. And if it were me, I might choosing a good life for myself. And you see these teachers here, they're not doing that. They're choosing our kids instead. I don't know if I could be brave enough to make that choice. I urge you tonight not to give up the same way that our teachers have not given up for our kids. I know there's so many things that you guys are fighting for, but we need to find a way to make this happen. Our teachers have not given up on our children, despite every biological response within them to go elsewhere. So I know you guys are working so hard, and I just urge you to be more creative. We have so many great minds in this room. Thank you for all you're doing.
Jen Olson.
Hello. I'm picking up someone else's speech here. Honest speech. I'm a parent at Santa Cruz Gardens. I have 3 kids there, and we love our school so, so much. We asked them to teach math, science, reading, and writing. We asked them to support social and emotional learning. Let's see, she scrolled down here. When districts fail to offer competitive pay, they struggle to hire and retain qualified teachers, including in critical areas like special education. Turnover.
Sorry, Jennifer, further,
Oh.
just save your time if you want to go down to.
Okay.
It's important to acknowledge.
Let's see. Okay. I know the choice I've made, and that means I'm asking all of you to act now and do what is right. This is not just about compensation. It is about protecting the future of our schools, as many of you have said. I recognize that difficult decisions must be made, but what I struggle with and what I hear and see too often when challenges arise is the response, we can't, it won't work, it's too hard. That mindset won't move us forward. Instead of focusing on the impossible, I ask that we begin to envision what is possible by asking, how might we? What if? Could we? What have other places done? Locally, we had a public jurisdiction of Central Fire and Aptos La Selva. They serve our community. Their goals were to not shut down fire stations and to continue to serve the public. They consolidated their admin, and a lot of their fiscal issues were solved. Those questions open doors, and our children, our teachers, and our community deserve leaders willing to open them. At a recent community meeting, it was shared that there is no one dedicated to exploring grant opportunities. That is not a criticism, it is an opportunity. We have a committed parent community ready to help. We could create a volunteer or advisory committee focused on grants and partnerships. Could we explore new avenues instead of closing doors? What families want to hear from our administration is not just what's impossible, but what is possible. Here are the ideas we're exploring. What grants are currently being pursued? What partnerships or outside funding opportunities are being considered? How can we work collaboratively across districts to leverage greater buying power, especially to reduce the growing burden of healthcare premiums? What are other districts doing? Live Oak doesn't do the same healthcare option that SoCal has. If we want strong schools, stable classrooms, and successful students, then investing in our teachers is not optional. It is essential. Thank you for listening and for choosing to invest where it matters most, and for letting me finish someone else's speech.
Is there any other public comment? I think we had maybe one or two via email.
We don't read those out.
It was specific to this agenda item.
Oh, right, thank you.
Yeah.
For the reminder. Okay, this is from Allison Joros. Dear members of the SUESD board, thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts ahead of tonight's meeting. As parents in this district, we want to begin by expressing our deep appreciation for our teachers. They are highly skilled, deeply caring professionals who consistently go above and beyond for their students at Santa Cruz Gardens. Their dedication is the foundation of high-quality public education, and we are grateful that the district recognizes the essential role they play in our children's successes. Because of that recognition, we hope the district will take seriously the concerns that many teachers have raised regarding compensation and healthcare. The district's healthcare contribution has not increased since October 1st, 2015. Over the past decade, healthcare premiums have risen significantly statewide, and teachers here are now paying extremely high out-of-pocket costs to maintain basic coverage. This directly affects the quality of life. Higher medical expenses reduce take-home pay, increase financial stress, and make it harder for teachers to support their own families. When educators face financial strain, it becomes increasingly difficult for the district to retain them. Many teachers are already being forced to consider leaving the profession entirely or seeking employment in districts that offer more competitive benefits. This is not a reflection of their commitment to students. It is a reflection of the economic reality they face. Compounding this issue is that the fact that teacher salaries in our district are far below the California statewide average. At a time when the cost of living continues to rise, a proposed 0% salary increase places our educators even further behind. This creates a situation that is simply not sustainable. When compensation does not keep pace with basic expenses, the district risks losing experienced teachers and struggles to attract new ones. Ultimately, this impacts classroom stability and student learning. We want to emphasize that we believe the district wants to do the right thing. We know these decisions are complex and that budgets are not limitless. However, supporting teachers is not only the right thing to do, it's an investment in the long-term health of our schools. Ensuring that educators can afford healthcare and earn a competitive wage is essential to maintaining the strong, stable, high-quality learning environment that our children deserve. Thank you for your time, your service, and your commitment to our community. We hope the district will collaborate with teachers to find a path forward that reflects their value and supports their ability to continue doing the work that benefits all of our students.
Last chance for public comment. Okay, we are now going to convene closed session. So thank you all for coming. We ask you to kindly find your way. Yes. Jeez. at 6:50. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So we have someone from Main Street that Craig will introduce.
Yeah. We get a student who leads us first. You don't have to stand here.
Hey, good evening, board members and district admin and attendees. I'm Craig Broadus, the principal at Main Street Elementary, and it's always a pleasure bringing one of our students to help get the meeting started. And tonight, we're bringing from Miss Shank's class, one of our outstanding fourth graders, Tao Murray. Come up here a second, please, Tao. And Tao is, I don't know, an assurance almost that our future is in good hands. Because when you think about students who are going to lead us in the future, I think Tao's up amongst them. She represented our school at the county spelling bee up at UCSC recently. And when I talked to her a little bit about what she would like to do in the future, she gave me one of the most interesting answers. And I think you'll agree when you get to hear it yourself. So Tao, you can face the flag there and do your part.
Thanks, Sam. Place your hands on your heart. Ready? Begin.
I allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, the mission statement. That students and parents of the ensure that each child develops the skills to be therefore necessary for lifelong achievement and responsible citizenship in a diverse world.
Yeah. They're gonna have to I'm gonna go ahead and start with this.
Go ahead.
All right. Tao, it is our pleasure to present you with a certificate of recognition, and this was prepared and it has some things about you, really nice things. Is it okay if I read it out loud so everyone else gets to know a little bit? And then after we do that, I'm going to give it to you. I'll invite you up to take a look at the goodie box. And then if it's all right with you, we're going to ask you some questions, friendly questions. All right. Is that good? All right. It's a deal. The Soquel Union Elementary School District Board of Trustees Certificate of Recognition for our student Pledge of Allegiance leader and mission statement reader to Tao Murray, fourth grade student at Main Street. Tao brings curiosity, creativity, and enthusiasm to everything she does. When asked what she likes about Main Street, she shared that she loves the hills, the beautiful views, the cows, and that it's not too big or too small. She also noted that one of the best parts of the community is that everyone is nice, which reflects the kindness she brings to school each day. Reading is Tao's favorite subject, and it's clear she carries that love beyond the classroom. She enjoys reading both in and out of school, with graphic novels and realistic fiction being her top choices. At home, she spends much of her time building with Legos, her favorite hobby alongside reading, and she loves spending time with her friends. In class, Tao has been especially excited about the Oregon Trail simulations and engages enthusiastically in learning activities. Looking ahead, her future plans are delightfully imaginative. She hopes to combine careers as an ice cream scooper, librarian, mad scientist, and Lego designer. One of Tao's proudest accomplishments this year was participating in and winning the school spelling bee, spelling every single word correctly. This achievement highlights her strong academic skills, confidence, and dedication. She's a joyful learner and a wonderful member of the school community. Oh my goodness. Yes, I heard it following yourself. You a handshake or is that cool or no? Okay. Congratulations. Thank you from us. And please pick something for yourself. If you have a sibling at home, you're welcome to grab something for them as well.
Don't forget Coy.
Hey, Tao, come here.
Yep.
So obviously, I think you like to read, huh? Yeah, I want to be librarian. Very good. Here's a gift certificate to Two Birds bookstore on 41st Avenue. Hey, when there, pick yourself out. Really good book. I'm sure you will, huh? You like graphic novels. Heard that. Which ones are you reading?
I really
Okay, I just started reading them. I read here and then I'm reading bodies, but what other one, so they're really great. I never read graphic novels before.
You've got
There's more.
It's on right by the
Right in front of you,
screen.
how you dropped your.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question for you. So, first of all, I think I want to live in your basement, you know, because I think unlimited ice cream and watching.
Yeah, there we
like,
go.
Some mad science creations would be pretty cool. But I was curious, I'm really interested in your spelling bee. I think that's awesome. Do you remember what any of the words were? Do you think we'd be able to spell any of those?
I think I remember. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this was the school spelling bee. I think like there was road and
That's good enough.
Yeah.
I think you just stumped half the board.
Yeah.
It's a great job. Congratulations. That's really awesome.
And that's so neat that you like Legos. Are you
Yeah.
considering doing invention convention in 5th grade?
Oh.
Or the mad scientist party? Yeah, maybe.
meant like do like a cool Lego invention.
That's
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
What would you design of a Lego?
Maybe like a machine that carries something that you like use every day.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, maybe like a toothbrush or like.
There we go.
That's a great idea.
There we go. Yeah, that's fun.
How did you get into spelling? Is it just because your love of reading and you kind of naturally became good at it?
At my after school CKC, they used to like ask me some spell oops. They used to like ask me spelling words sometimes, and that helped. And then I just like really liked it.
Yes.
Great.
I love how you were commended on your kindness and how the community, one of the things you like about Main Street is so nice. And I just think that's a really important quality to have, is that kindness and thinking of other people. And when we have young people and older people who are kind to each other, it's a paving the way for a great world. So thank you for being so kind.
Yes. Thank you.
And then maybe we could take a picture with you and your parents here, if you'd like to. If you'd like to.
Principal. Yeah.
Responsible doll.
Yeah.
Something you could invent, make you a fortune. But you I'll get a piece of Lego and step on barefoot without getting hurt.
Yeah. Good job. Thanks for coming in. You made our night. We'll see you later.
Okay. All right, we are now moving on to an adoption of the agenda. We get a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And then report out of closed session. There were no actions in front of the board, so there is nothing to report out of closed session. All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
Don't we announce that we're continuing closed session? No.
Sure, we can announce that we are going to continue closed session. Consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. Okay, now we're
Can I make a?
absolutely, oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
please do.
We had some
Please do.
special changes that just
Yeah.
got approved.
And so part of the consent agenda was personnel action report, and part of the personnel action report was to officially recognize our new Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Carissa Lemos. Come on down. We got a speak for you. But not a nameplate yet. So.
They're fast, but not that. Welcome.
We're so excited to have Carissa.
Yeah.
She's already an amazing part of the team, and is only going to be able to contribute more now.
All right, we are now moving on to public communications. We do have several public communications. Some of them are on a agenda that's on the agenda, so we will get to those when we get to that item. We also have a handful that are not related to an agenda item, so we're going to do those now. And before I bring folks up, I'm just going to read the little disclaimer that we have. Members of the audience are welcome to address the Board of Trustees during public communications regarding items not listed on this agenda. For items not on the agenda, we request that you fill out one of the forms available at the sign-in register and submit it to the executive assistant to the superintendent prior to the opening of the meeting. 3 minutes may be allowed to each speaker and a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject matter. The trustees cannot take action on these matters unless such matters are placed on a future agenda according to law. If the item is on the agenda, we'll have an opportunity to speak at the time the agenda item is discussed. Please address the board president. These proceedings are video recorded, Board Policy 9323. Board members shall hold the education of students above any partisan principle, group interest, or personal interest. Board Bylaw 9200. Okay, so.
The non.
Okay.
I have one on email for that too.
Okay. We are going to start with Lauren Westberg.
Good evening, Superintendent Turnbull and trustees. I'm not here tonight to reassure you how much this community values our teachers and schools. That's already been made clear. Tonight's about whether we are willing to ensure that teachers in this district can earn a living wage so that qualified, experienced educators are drawn here and able to stay. I want to focus on transparency and priorities. Teachers are asking for wages that allow them to live in the community they serve. When compensation fails to keep pace with the cost of living, we lose experienced educators, struggle to recruit new ones, and place additional strain on students and classrooms. Paying teachers a living wage is not a bonus, it's foundational to district stability and student success. We recognize that inflation is affecting the entire district. Rising costs in healthcare, insurance, services, and operations are real pressures. The question is not whether trade-offs exist, it's how those trade-offs are made and whether teachers are consistently the ones asked to absorb them. The district is budgeting with a projected 2.41% COLA to help offset inflationary pressures. While COLA alone is not a solution, it's intended to support rising costs, including compensation. Choosing not to apply it toward teacher salaries while educators absorb inflation places the burden on the very people we rely on most. A 0% raise is not neutral. It makes it increasingly difficult for teachers to remain here, and we're asking educators to accept financial conditions that most professionals, including those making these decisions, would not consider acceptable or sustainable for themselves. Our community deserves transparency not only in compensation decisions, but in what's being actively examined on the budget side. That means revisiting assumptions and priorities so we are not solving systemic challenges by pushing educators out. This cannot remain a recurring cycle. Empathy alone is not a strategy. We are asking for concrete actions, fair pay that reflects the cost of living, transparency where trade-offs are made, and a collaborative approach to addressing rising costs without sacrificing the people at the heart of this district. Putting teachers last is not sustainable, and it's not the path to a strong district. I urge the district to commit to a compensation plan that supports a living wage and to move from ongoing conversation to a concrete action that protects both our educators and our students. Thank you for your time.
Jason Von Aker.
Thank you guys for your time. I'm gonna change. I was gonna say a little bit just because of the prior speaker said. So I teach over the hill, and I moved here, say 8 years ago. Since that time, I've looked to teach in this district several times, and it's untenable. I cannot take a 30% pay cut and need to take an additional 15 units to even have a chance to approach what Campbell's paying. And our district likes to tell us, we just did a similar thing recently, that we're here to serve the students. You cannot serve students if half the staff is looking to move the district, which I know several teachers in the district who are, and all they have to say is positive things about their students, the schools. But if I know them and I have 6 people on my site who also live in town that would love to teach here, but can't, or they just can't afford it. I don't know how you can say you serve students if half your staff is trying to leave. And I don't know how you plan to serve students if new teachers, or sorry, if experienced teachers can't afford to move here. That is not sustainable. So sorry I threw my speech away, but hopefully the issue gets dealt with in a way where people like myself who live here with 13 years of experience can afford to move here and teach where I live. And hopefully the teachers who do teach here can afford to comfortably live where they work. So thank you for your time.
Tracy Taguchi.
Good evening, board, superintendent, and members of the community. My name is Tracy. I'm a parent of a first grader, Christopher, at Santa Cruz Gardens. And on behalf of the parents and educators who are deeply concerned about the direction this district is heading, I want to begin with a sincere question. One I hope you will reflect on. Why did you choose to serve on this board? Most people don't take these seats because they're easy. They do it because they believe in public education, because they care about children, because they want to help steward a community towards something better. So tonight we're asking you to consider, do those decisions being made right now still honor that reason? Our teachers are doing everything we ask of them and more. They teach, they mentor, they support students through academic and emotional challenges that continue to grow. They show up early, they stay late and fill gaps the system cannot. But as some have said, caring doesn't pay the rent. Caring doesn't cover healthcare costs. And caring doesn't make it possible for educators to stay in our community that they can no longer afford. When nearly half our educators are considering leaving, that's not coincidence. That's a signal for us. And when teachers leave, students lose stability, they lose relationships, and they lose trust. That loss doesn't reset at the end of the school year, it only compounds. Parents are also struggling to reconcile what we're being told and what we're experiencing. Taxes have risen, families are paying more, yet we're being told cuts, closures, and reductions are unavoidable. Schools closing is not a neutral act. It reshapes neighborhoods, it fractures communities, it places the weight of fiscal decisions onto children and educators, the very people who aren't able to absorb it. So we want to ask respectfully, but clearly, before we accept school closures and deep cuts as inevitable, what alternatives have truly been explored? What bold or outside the box ideas are being seriously concerned, not just discussed, but pursued? And if the answers are none, why not? Leadership is not about choosing the least uncomfortable option. It's about protecting core mission, especially when it's hard. Parents don't want to just stand here and express concern. We want to help. We want transparency. We want to understand the constraints, the trade-offs, and the opportunities. We want to advocate at the county and state level. We want to partner in the solution and keep the teachers here and the schools strong. But partnership requires trust. This trust is built when decisions reflect the values we say we hold. You were entrusted with these seats to protect public education, not simply manage its decline, to invest in people, not slowly push them out, to make decisions that future families will thank you for, not question. Our teachers have honored their commitment to this district every single day, and tonight we're asking you to reflect on whether the system around them is honoring that commitment in return. Thank you.
Kate Doherty. Hello.
Members of the school board, thank you for your time, your energy, and the care you continue to give our district. I want to begin by acknowledging the amount of pressure and responsibility that you all carry. These are not easy decisions, and I recognize that the weight that comes with them seems impossible. My name is Kate Doherty. I'm a working parent of 2 boys in the district. Emmett is here at New Brighton in 6th grade, and he was just recognized a few weeks ago here in this room with his basketball team and coach and amazing teacher, Heather Springy, for their undefeated championship season. I have Kian, who's in 4th grade, also thriving with Miss Shank and Tao. This fall, I was the 6th grade girls basketball coach at New Brighton, and then turned around and was asked to help out the 8th grade coach. Neither of my kids are on those teams. I have 2 boys. I'm a pediatric physical therapist. I work for the county of Santa Clara County. I work for the county of Santa Clara in public health, and I've been there for 17 years. I was raised by a single mom. She was a teacher. She still helps me and the grandkids now. My sister's a middle school counselor down outside of Philadelphia in Lower Merion, and my first cousin is a superintendent of schools. My family cares deeply about public education, and I'm here today as a vested member of the community and of our children's future. My biggest concern as a parent is if nothing changes, we will lose teachers. We will inevitably begin to lose students as well. When families see the high turnover, instability, burnout, low morale, they look elsewhere. We have to. Our school ratings will decline. If our enrollment continues to decline, which it has since we started at Main Street, there were 4 kindergartens. That was back in 2019. We'll lose families to transfer and compound that with no new families moving in if the district, because of our school ratings, continue to decline. What does that mean for the future of our public schools in this community? And as we all know, funding is still directly tied to enrollment and attendance. Right now, many of our teachers in the community are not feeling supported by administration. As a parent, I want to be clear that I support our teachers. They are the foundation of our schools. When teachers feel undervalued or overwhelmed, that stress doesn't stop at the door. It directly affects their students and their own families. We must care about that. We have to prioritize that. Our kids need to feel supported when they come to school each and every day. That support starts at the top. Leadership decisions set the tone, and there's that real trickle-down effect from the board to the administration, to the teachers, and ultimately to our kids. I truly believe that we do all want the same thing. It's why we're all here tonight. Strong schools, supported educators, and a school district in our own community that families want to be a part of. Tracy, right? She said it. We want to help, right? You have amazing parents in this community. Done.
That's time. Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you for listening and for your continued support for our community.
Krista Petroskas.
Hello. Hi. Okay. My name is Krista Petroskas. I am a parent in this district, and I'm also the education specialist resource teacher at SoCal Elementary. This is my 6th year in the district. I'm writing because I truly want to continue my work here, as in my experience as a special education teacher, I'm not always included or valued. My students aren't always included or valued. At SoCal Elementary, I found a home. I don't want to leave my home. But I also have to be really honest about my current reality. I'm a solo parent. My husband passed away prior to COVID. I have a preteen and now a college-age daughter at home. I understand that personal circumstances alone don't drive district decisions, so I'd like to share some concrete facts. Over the summer, we were informed that our health insurance costs would increase. I anticipated a modest reduction in my paycheck. I did not anticipate that that would equal to a 15% cut in my take-home pay. My homeowners, over the last year and a half, cost of living has increased significantly. My homeowner's insurance has gone up 279%. My auto insurance has increased 16%. Groceries have gone up approximately 5.7%.
My portion of the district covered health insurance has increased 617% in 13 months. The district increase was 2%. At the same time that living expenses have risen, my overall compensation has decreased. I rely on other jobs, including teaching summer school, where the rate of pay was reduced by 20% last school year. I also teach ELA, where the rate of pay has been decreased by 33%. I have made no changes to my deductions, my savings contributions, or my insurance plan. I'm enrolled in the lowest tier, least expensive plan available, but I'm literally bringing home 85% of what I brought home last year. This part's hard. Recently, a local private school has reached out and offered me a position for next year. The compensation is surprisingly comparable to what I'm currently making, with a significantly smaller caseload and the opportunity to continue to work with neurodivergent students, which is what I love. I don't want to leave Soka Elementary. The school, the staff, the students matter to me. However, financially, I cannot afford to stay if the situation remains unchanged. I'm asking for your support and help in finding a way for me and the 47% of our teaching staff currently looking elsewhere to remain at the schools we love and continue serving this community. Thank you.
Jillian Ritter.
Well, what I have to say is probably not going to be that impactful, but that's crazy. I can't believe I just heard that. Good evening, Superintendent Turnbull and trustees of Soquel Union Elementary School District and district staff and community members, teachers, everyone here tonight. My name is Jillian Ritter. I am a parent to a child in kindergarten at Santa Cruz Gardens Elementary School. I'm not here tonight to praise teachers or explain why they matter. You guys already know that. The entire room knows that. What's at issue tonight is whether the Soquel Union Elementary School District is willing to stop making it financially infeasible, like we just heard, for educators to work here and to live here. When teacher pay doesn't keep up with the cost of living, experienced educators leave, recruitment fails, and students lose stability. That's not hypothetical. That's the predictable outcome of the decisions you've indicated that you're willing to make. You keep pointing to inflation and rising costs. No one disputes that these exist. The problem here has been the response to our teachers. Every time there's a decision to be made here, our educators have been the ones asked to absorb the financial impacts through stagnant wages, rising healthcare costs, or both. This is not an accident. This is a choice. A 0% raise, which is what has been offered to our teachers through the current contract negotiation process, is not status quo. It is a pay cut because, as everyone here knows, the cost of living continues to rise. And when that is combined with ever increasing health insurance costs, it sends an unmistakable message. Working here means watching more of your paycheck disappear every year. This is not sustainable, and it is certainly not competitive. When healthcare costs rise and wages do not, compensation is going backwards. And a district that claims it values retention cannot ignore that reality. We are also asking here today for real transparency, not sympathy, not broad statements, but actual clarity. What options have been examined? What assumptions are being protected? What priorities are non-negotiable, and why are these priorities more important than retaining educators? Good intentions are not a strategy. Teachers need action. Fair wages, a real plan to address healthcare costs, and transparency about how decisions are actually being made. What's being raised here tonight should concern every person on this dais. Putting teachers last is not leadership. It is short-sighted, and it is damaging this district. This community is paying attention, and we expect this district to do better for our educators and for our students. Thank you.
Okay, now we're moving to Marilyn Garrett. It's a different subject.
Oh, I have one on each.
Oh, sorry,
No,
sorry,
it's okay.
sorry, Marilyn.
Oh, not yet.
I'll just read it real quick, okay? So we finish off this topic.
Oh.
This is
That's it.
the email from Katie Manning. And it says, "Dear board members, I'm writing this email in support of the wonderful teachers in the Soquel School District. My two children attend Main Street Elementary, where they have received high quality education in TK, first and second grade, with superstar teachers such as Sarah Galvan, Samantha Lucas, and Burton Beckman. As you all are aware, cost of living in the first most expensive county in California makes Santa Cruz a difficult place to work and live, let alone support a family. Our dedicated teachers support our communities, and the high quality education they churn out deserves all the financial support we can give them. I am urging the board to approve raises to keep up with the cost of living in our county and to help retain our teachers."
Okay. Now we'll go to you, Marilyn. 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm a retired teacher from Pajaro Valley School. I urge you to follow the direction of the teachers. I was in the union when I was teaching. The tremors I have are attributed working next to my healthcare provider, fields of pesticides at a Mesty school. And the wireless radiation has similar damaging neurological effects. I advocate for healthy learning conditions in the schools. Whatever's toxic should be removed. Recently, I heard the Ralph Nader radio hours. Some of you who are older will remember Ralph Nader, who's now 92, wrote the book on Safe at Any Speed. It's the reason we have seatbelts. On December 6th, 2025, on the Ralph Nader radio program, the topic was the problem with plastic. And he interviewed Judith Enck, founder of Beyond Plastics, whose goal is to eliminate plastic pollution everywhere. And Ralph Nader says, "I want to shake up our listeners because I was shaken up when I read this. On page 135, you said under a subparagraph, artificial plastics turf. Can you think of a sadder world when they replace green spaces with artificial glass? We can't." And then he goes into what is in this, the toxics and the injuries. Judith replies, "There's a lot of toxics, benzene, arsenic, styrene. These are all known human carcinogens. We've got polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, zinc, which is a neurotoxic, cadmium, a known human carcinogen, chromium phytates." And I was here at this board warning you and giving information before you installed this toxic artificial turf here. Ralph Nader, I mean, it's so disturbing to me how things are made to look good. Says, "Are there any proposed regulation? This is obviously corporate criminogenic behavior. I would say corporate criminal behavior, yet there are no laws making it criminal, but it fulfills the standards of common law criminality, which is encapsulated in the word criminogenic." Anyway, we should not be having this at schools, harming children. Just today, I called in. Okay, this, I'll just conclude. This was discussed at the California Coastal Commission meeting today about these toxins going into the ocean from the artificial turf.
and having to be classified as, what is it, toxic, hazardous waste. Thank you.
Hey, anything else?
Nothing on email. No.
Okay. We're going to move to our standing reports. Start with you.
Okay, so just a few things. I want to thank everybody who participated in the community voice gathering last week. It was a great turnout, highlighted, of course, by the wonderful chorus from Soquel Elementary, led by Diane Bach. And I think we had some really good dialogue and discussion. The evaluations we had filled out provided us some good feedback on the event, and we'll continue to try to make that a good, informative event every year. Earlier this week, I had a chance to meet with our DLAC committee, our District English Language Advisory Council. There were representative parents from every school, principal from every school, and there were so many great ideas shared about how we're supporting our multilingual learners. So I just want to thank that team. This week has been busy as we work to replace our Assistant Superintendent of Education Services, who we did not backfill with an actual person, but kind of divvied up some of the projects, including to myself and to a new principal director position, and of course to our new Assistant Superintendent of Schools. So we've been busy trying to make sure all of those duties that were covered previously by somebody in a position are now divvied up amongst us. And I think we have a real good team that is going to be able to handle that with one less person. And then I just want to last say I had math visits today at New Brighton and Soquel on Main Street and just saw some wonderful math instruction. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I attended the community voice gathering. It's great to see the kids all the time, especially the chorus. It's so cute, all the different ages and so forth. I also attended Capital Advisors governor's budget proposal that they had over at the COE. And on top of that, been starting to work on second interim because that's gonna come fast, as well as construction meetings for the bond, so forth.
Okay. Do we have anyone? Oh, just in time. The SEA?
All right, took his spot.
Yeah.
You can wait for me?
Yes.
Yeah.
No problem.
No, you're
Go.
it's the order.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
SEA to go first. Well,
I've got my thing up, so we can go.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Pete Grisham, district nurse and a proud member of SEA. We recently put out a petition of which we got 864 community signatures. And we will be sending you a copy of the petition and the signatures after this meeting. In the meantime, I would like to read the petition to you. To the Soquel Union Elementary School District Superintendent and School Board Trustees. This SUESD parents, educators, students, and communities stand in support of the Soquel Education Association in their fight for safe and stable schools. This requires that the district recruit and retain high-quality educators. We know our students will learn and thrive in schools that are consistently staffed by trusted district educators and health and wellness professionals. We know our communities will thrive when our schools can be a place all students are supported. We support our educators' demands for competitive wages to attract and retain high-quality educators, safe and stable schools for our students and communities. We call on you, the superintendent and the board of SUESD, to prioritize our students now by coming to an agreement with our educators that will bring stability to our classrooms and our schools. We can't wait. Thank you.
Good evening, Enrique Domo. Superintendent Limos or Carissa or. Okay.
Carissa would be preferred.
I work for her, Saturday hours. Hello, Superintendent Turnbull and board members. Just wanted to share that we are eager to begin negotiations. We have submitted our draft sunshine for CSEA internal 610 process.
Once approved, we will be ready to submit to you all for the district sunshine process. That's all I have. Thank you.
Is there any update on the bond projects?
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay. Any updates from trustees?
Nothing for me.
I was sick, so I wasn't able to go to the voice gathering or the last meeting, but I have been responding to letters, reviewing the budget, looking at old board meetings, to review what we talked about. And then meeting with the superintendent. Thank you.
Friday, I went to the flag football game out here on our new field. It was great, great game. Nothing but positive feedback on our field from the parents. And thank you very much for posting this. I love the fun filling. That is awesome. That really, brightens up the room in here. So thank you for posting that.
I did the community voice gathering last Wednesday. It's been several weeks of things. Last Wednesday, I saw the in-person version at the New Brighton PAC, and it was really lovely to see so many folks attending. And I just wanted to let people know, and it's been announced by the district, but just a reminder for anyone who's interested in participating and wants to come again or didn't make it to the first one, there's a virtual offering. It's on March 11th, right?
Thanks for reminding me.
March 11th, virtual. I'm sure that's going to be going out in superintendent updates. And I also wanted to thank the superintendent for the news articles that are out in I always get the name wrong, Capitola SoCal Times, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Capitola SoCal Times and the Friday updates, because I think it's just incredibly important to keep the community informed.
You're welcome. And there was a great one from Principal Albano at the Gardens too. So.
Yes.
And February 11th. So next week is the virtual.
February,
Yeah.
February.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought it up because
I'm glad you corrected me because I would have.
that'll be online and you'll get a reminder about it.
I also was at the community voice gathering last week, and I thought it had a great turnout. It was a nice creative use of having the choir go at the intermission. I thought it was wonderful to hear them. And I think there were parents who were there maybe for their children who asked questions. So that was great to hear from them, because that is the point, is to engage the community. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we're ready to move on to our presentations. We're going to start with Craig Broadhurst and the presentation on Main Street.
Okay. Well, good evening, board members and district staff. Great to be here again. And listening to people who are talking from Santa Cruz Gardens and SoCal Elementary and New Brighton Middle School. I just like to say I'm proud to have worked with all those schools and been part of SUESD since 1988. And it feels great to be part of SUESD. My own daughter went through went through SoCal Elementary kindergarten through 6th grade, had a wonderful time there. And some of my, I've had some great years teaching at those sites and working at those sites. So very happy to be here. I think 2 years ago, I said this might be the last time I do this, but I did it last year. This might be the last time I do it, but the proof's in the pudding, the jury's still out, whatever you want to say. I was encouraged to go deep and take my time, but I think I have selective hearing, so I'm going to try to keep it to 15 minutes. So I am going to present to you on Main Street's math intervention program that we're really excited. Talk a little bit about how it came about, what it consists of, and the results that we're getting so far. And so without further ado, you might be thinking, why math intervention? And flawlessly, George. It's supposed to go to the next slide, but
He's coming, someone.
Yeah, we connect to each corner of the room, we'll try it. Kick it.
Just kidding. Okay, so why math intervention? Well, there's a few reasons up there that I'd like to talk about. And one is a parent came to me in the 24-25 school year and said that they would like to donate $5,000 to Main Street School. And after we figured out it couldn't go into my travel fund. And there was a matching donation from one of the family's employers for a donation of 10K to our school. And so I was thinking about how could we use this 10K, and also talked to our site council about that. And we came up with the idea of it would be good if we could get some dedicated math intervention for our students. And so we decided we would use the funds to get math intervention going. Unfortunately, for the 24-25 school year, by the time the funds came through, it wouldn't have been really effective to run an intervention past the midpoint of the year. So we said, well, we'll hold on to it and we'll use it for this year. So I'm happy to report that it's up and running. Why math intervention? I put up a little screenshot of the California dashboard, and that's Main Street's math part of the California dashboard, which, as many of you know, is where you can find different metrics on how schools are performing. So at Main Street, we are currently for math in the yellow. The state is also in the yellow. We are 12.1 points below standard. And I tried to find out, well, what's that number for the standard? And it's kind of wasn't easy to find out, but all I know is that we are below the standard. However, the state is 42.4 points below standard. And we declined 12.1 points, for the state actually increased 5.2. And we want our students to be proficient in math. And so that's one of the reasons why we decided that we want to give some math intervention. I was looking up some other things that were interesting about math. And I just want to share some of those with you. Math scores at age 11 are the strongest indicators of adult earnings, apparently. And if you increase your math score by just 1/2 standard deviation, you can raise future earnings by approximately 3.5% or $1,200 a year. Students with strong math backgrounds are 3 times more likely to earn a 4-year degree. STEM occupations, which rely heavily on math, are projected to increase 10.4% through 2033, which is triple the rate of non-STEM jobs. And math majors typically out-earn other graduates by 70% a decade after graduation. And so those are just some of the numbers around why math is important. We talk about social emotional learning, and I just want to point out, under emotional resilience, tackling difficult math problems builds perseverance and confidence. And research even suggests that brain regions used for math help may regulate emotions like fear and anger. So it kind of ties in with our SEL focus that we've had for quite some years now. And so also, why math intervention? Because it does align with district priorities, which I listed down there, of 60 minutes of math daily, math fluency practice, and math number talks, academic conversation. So in case anybody wanted to know why we would do math intervention, those are some of the reasons behind that. I want to talk a little bit about our selection process for students. What you can see there is what we call our iReady Reds. And in iReady, which is our local assessment for math and reading, if you are red as designated by taking a diagnostic or an assessment in the fall, we just finished our second diagnostic, and the third diagnostic will come up in May. It's one way that we track progress for our students in math and in reading. So those reds, obviously the students' names aren't there, are students who are 2 or more years behind in math. You can see 5th grade on the left, and their iReady, the red column is their iReady grade equivalent, and the same for the 4th graders on the right. And so myself and one of our intervention teachers, Beth Willen, we took a look at those lists and decided, who would be great candidates or good candidates for some math intervention. And obviously, there's all those students did not get math intervention. Some of them are already getting other remediation in terms of they might have an IEP and they're getting specialized academic instruction to address math goals that they may have as part of their IEP. I just want to point out, currently we're in our 2nd cycle. This was the 4-5 cycle I'm reporting on, 4th and 5th grade. And currently we have 2nd and 3rd graders going through a similar cycle. And, oh, wrong way, sorry. So the intervention, I'd just like to talk a little bit about this gift of a person that is doing the intervention right now. She's named Christine Drago, but goes by Nana, I believe. I first met her in Miss Springy's class last year, where she was volunteering because her grandson was a 5th grader. She also has well, that grandson is now a 6th grader at New Brighton, and then she has a 3rd grade granddaughter at Main Street. Wonderful person. It's kind of the person you meet and you think, how can we get more of Christine Drago in with our students? And so I talked to her about this possibility, and she said she was interested. And luckily, when the funds came through for this year, she said, I'm on board. And I just wanted to tell you the quality of the volunteer that is now actually running the math intervention. But she's getting paid to do that, but she was volunteering. She's a 22-year high school math teacher, department head. She was Teacher of the Year in San Jose Unified School District in 1996. In 2011, she was the Santa Clara County Teacher of the Year. She's led teacher training, math teacher evaluation, math curriculum coordinator. So she's dynamite. And she reminds me of Joanne Roster, one of our teachers who is retired, but now still working in the ELOP. And what I used to like to say about Joanne is she's got 40 years experience, but the energy of a 2nd-year teacher. And this is Christine Drago also. So we're very fortunate to have her. She is working with groups of maximum of 6 students, and they get 2 sessions twice a week for 12 weeks. So it would be great if we could do it 4 days a week or more, but we've got right now more than we had last year. And they are using Marilyn Burns' Do the Math, quite a well-known program. And I wanted to not lose sight of the things that they're doing on, so I'm just going to read for a second. It helps students build strong conceptual understandings by emphasizing hands-on, using visual models, mathematics discussions. It supports diverse learners by encouraging multiple strategies, helping students understand why math works and not just how to get the answer. And so they'll be working with manipulatives. And this particular intervention was more around numbers and operations, specifically addition and subtraction. And the exciting thing, I think, is we had a pre and a post assessment. So you had a pre-assessment, instruction, and then post-assessment. And I'm going to share with you the results of the pre and the post. Okay, that just talks a little bit about what I already went over. So I have a lot more than this just here, but the bottom line is of the 4th grade students who are involved in the intervention, The average increase from pre to post was a 30% increase. For fifth grade students, I noticed when I was looking at my presentation in Main Street earlier, it's not 30, it's 25%. But I'm sorry, I could have kept it like that, but the average increase for fifth grade students was 25%, a little less, but still a great increase. And I wanted to go over the iReady results. The iReady second diagnostic we just finished. Looking at the iReady second diagnostic compared to the first diagnostic that was done at the end of, well, August into early September. The average increase for students was 19 points on the iReady diagnostic from first to second. Now, as I wrote that down, I thought, I need to go through the average increase for all students to compare. And I haven't done that yet, so I apologize, but I can get that to you. I just was like, how did that compare to non-intervention students? So I will get that. In the so the range actually of increase was 3 points more to 55 points more. And I paid particular attention to one of our groups that we are paying attention to, which is English language learners. And there were two in that group, and one of them increased 21 points. The other, which is sometimes happens, had a decrease in the score of the second diagnostic. I personally don't believe that anybody could go down in their math or reading knowledge after 6 months of school. There might be something else to explain that. I would also like to point out that the student who went down 11 points did increase 20% on the pre and post evaluation. And so there might be some other factors to account for a decline. Sometimes students rush, sometimes students aren't as focused as we would like them to be. But there was the increase in the pre and post. What I can say is, and the data backs that up, is we didn't, well, I'd be lying if I said we didn't do the intervention to try to increase iReady scores. It doesn't really match iReady, but we want students to do well in math, and we're seeing that the intervention does help and does contribute to iReady increases also. And let me just make sure I didn't miss anything else. In closing, there's time for questions, but I have a couple of questions that I'm thinking about is, what will our CASP numbers show us? That's the state testing, for those of you who don't know it. Our third, fourth, and fifth graders will do math. And you can be even, well, I'll be looking at the students. I might not be around in this role when we have access to that, but I'd be interested to see the students who've been through the math intervention, if that intervention, excuse me. I'm curious to see if that also translates into improved CASP scores, which if CASP scores increase, that should also have an effect on the California school dashboard, which I showed you in the early parts of the presentation. And then another question I have is like, how can we do this next year if it was done on a donation this year? And how can we get it to more students? And I don't know if that was 15, 20, I'm not sure. Time flies.
We're all good.
But I'm certainly available to answer any questions. Last year, I think everybody probably in the state, every school district is looking at their math scores. I know that our county is looking at math scores. I know that our district and other districts are looking at math scores. And so to be able to put some math intervention into place and say, yeah, we're trying to tackle this issue, it feels rewarding. And then to look at some of the results, and I was looking through to get all the averages. I was looking through the students, how much they grew, and how much progress was being made, it gives you that feeling that, yeah, we are making a difference for students. I forgot to include that the pre and post averages, the pre-assessment for the intervention, the average score was 14 out of 25, correct? And the post was 21 out of 25, correct? So that's an average increase of 7 more. So I'm happy to say that you've got some math intervention that's moving the needle in the right direction for a lot of students. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments for Craig?
Yeah, sure. You hit the one on the head. How do we keep doing this? And I had just another question too. While is Drago?
Yeah, Drago, I think it's Drago. Drago.
That sounds amazing. Was there an opportunity to talk to one of the math teachers at your school, or somebody else to get that money to help with the intervention program?
I talked with site council about how we could spend the monies we have. I don't think we've got an extra 10K lying around. If we did, it wouldn't be, there wouldn't be such an issue. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Close enough.
Close enough?
Yeah, I don't expect. Yeah.
Do you want to go down the line or do you want to hop in?
Okay.
Okay, I'll hop in. One was just a question about, so they do, first of all, I mean, thank you. Amazing program. Very happy for all of the supports we can provide for our students. And I hear they've got 30 minutes twice a week for 12 weeks, right? When do they do that? What time of day? Are they?
It's typically morning. Yes, they will leave the classroom. And I don't know, maybe some of the 5th grade teachers could comment on that. We try to make it be as, I don't know, when you take a child out of the classroom, there's a downside to that too.
Right.
It makes me think of when I was teaching in the classroom and I had students who had IEPs and then they went out of the classroom to receive some pull-out services. As a teacher, I always felt like, oh, come back.
Yeah.
But then I realized, well, they're getting some specialized academic instruction in a smaller adult to student ratio. And that helped me think, okay, all right, I can let them go. I don't know about 5th grade staff, if there was, there was consultation with the teachers as to when would be the least obtrusive time.
Thank you. And then I just had it's helpful and important to hear about the progress with numbers and the changes in the different, iReady assessments, but also are you hearing reports or seeing things about like improved confidence, improved curiosity, right? I mean, some of our math challenges that we all can face is it's just.
What your question is making me think about is one of my next steps should be to have a little sit down with those students who went through the intervention and ask them what their thoughts were about it. Did they mind leaving the classroom? Do they feel more confident? Do you see any benefits? Do you see any negatives? So I think student voice is something that I would also like to follow up on.
Thank you.
I really love hearing about this program. This is the kind of thing that I wish we could do more of. So it's really awesome that we had this donation and this matching grant to make this happen. Was it one round of 6 students or was it done? Were there multiple?
It's about 24 students.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's done. Okay.
Those 1 second. 6 groups. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. There were 5 groups. Some groups had 6 in, some had 3, and most were in between.
In total, though.
Yeah, in that first round, there's 24. And there's about 24 2nd and 3rd graders going through the intervention right now. And then we'll have one more session after spring, excuse me, after spring break. And there's been some discussion about should we go back to some 4 or 5 students? Should we focus on some earlier students? Do we want to look at some students who are approaching standards? And a little extra boost might put them into meeting standards. So that's to be decided, and I'll talk to site council about that, get some input from staff, get some input from Beth Willen, our intervention teacher, and from Christine Drago.
Yeah, this is a wonderful model that we can look at, and we have had lots of parents want to be getting involved, so maybe this is something that could be a focused, sort of fundraiser for different school sites to focus on this math intervention. So thank you so much.
Okay.
For sharing.
Sorry, just last one. Something I've just always wondered, just the iReady is, computer math. So you don't have your paper and your pencil and your.
You can have a paper and
Right.
pencil to work things out if you want.
Isn't that funny? My kids never went to that, but there's the answers here on the, but what I heard you say was manipulative. So I think that's so cool that
Yeah.
that she was using that. And
Yeah.
I know that when they are working with the teachers, they're doing that too. So I just love that it's broad too, where we look at the iReady results, but you're really teaching them with hands-on and group work and pen and paper or pencil and paper.
We're trying to get to go from like concrete,
Right.
holding, moving
I mean,
things,
yeah.
manipulating things,
Yeah.
to the abstract of more like working out pencil and paper.
It's exciting.
Greg, is there anything that we can do to thank the family and then the business, maybe give them a plaque or have the kids that went through the program maybe write like a note or something like that they can put on their wall or office wall or something?
I think what I'd like to do is to speak to the family and say, are you comfortable with that recognition? Because sometimes people like to donate anonymously. And I'm actually not sure how they might feel about that. But I could certainly ask that question and get back to you. I think without that donation, we wouldn't have had students who were showing growth. And so I could certainly ask them. I mean, I think it's worthy of recognition for them.
Well, and if we can promote it so other parents might be willing to fundraise or go to their businesses or something like that, because obviously the money's the issue.
Yeah.
And however we can get parents who want to be involved to help us fundraise for a great program like that, I think would be great.
I'm just making a note to follow up on that, and I will.
Thanks, Greg. And if one business sees another business doing a matching fund for a donation, maybe there are other businesses out there that we can also look at as well. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of business owners who are parents that attend our schools, and maybe they'd be willing to match donations to help us fund a program like that.
Okay, I've made some notes.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
We'll see you again.
Yep.
You want you can do 3 minutes of public comments for this topic. You can do 3 minutes of public comments for this topic.
For this
For
project.
this topic.
Okay, so my question is, you said California dashboard, is this all on computer?
The California dashboard? Yeah, that.
And what you're talking about on the math program?
No, the math program is pencil and paper and manipulatives. To do the math, Marilyn Burns math intervention. It's hands-on.
All of
With
it?
manipulatives and pencil and paper. It's not computerized.
That's
And the
good.
pre and the post was not computerized either.
Okay, so it's all hands-on.
Pencil and paper and hands-on, yes.
That's good, because I taught mostly second grade and the hands-on and the blocks and manipulating and interacting with the students without the computer. Of course, I retired in 2000, but the radiation from the computer is so damaging. So I'm all for a program that's hands-on without the computer harmful effects on the cognitive skill. So, yeah. And it was fun, the hands-on. How come is this not done, like you mentioned, 6 students? Isn't this full class mathematical program?
This is an intervention in addition to the regular classroom math that students get.
And is the regular classroom math with computers or is
It's a
it?
combination.
Yeah.
Combination. Sometimes students will be working on a computer. Sometimes they'll be working a pencil and paper and manipulatives.
Because with the computer, you know, like in medicine, you say something is contraindicated. And I think what I've read with wireless radiation, it's contraindicated. The World Health Organization
Stay on topic for the math.
classifies this as a class 2B carcinogen, like DDT. So let's just do hands-on paper, pencil, and not harmful computers. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
It's awesome. The intervention's awesome. The kids love it. It's so cool to see them growing, and Christine's the best. We're so lucky. We arrange it so they don't miss. We have it half an hour so they either get part of their block, and it's been an awesome situation.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not
missing out.
Okay. Moving on to our next topic is an update of the governor's budget for the 26-27 school year.
George.
Yeah, it's working. Sweet. Okay. Okay, so this is the 26-27 governor's budget proposal. So as of right now, this is just the proposal for 26-27. It's not final. It still has to go through legislation. And this just gives us an early look at what the governor is prioritizing for the 26-27 budget. You gotta remember to click books at the same time. So the state revenues, they're looking strong this year, but long-term costs are growing faster, which is creating future deficits. To manage that, the state is holding back about 5.6 billion that schools would normally receive under Prop 98. So with this, the budget looks positive, but K-12 funding is being used to smooth over other state financial risks. With that also, the state budget looks positive on the surface, but is weakened by the Prop 98 maneuver that shorts K through 12 funding. So basically, we're required to receive a certain amount of Prop 28 funding, but they need to use some of that funding and kind of move it around. But they still say we're going to receive the minimum we're supposed to, but yet there's a gap in between there where it's kind of shifted around to kind of fund some other things on the governor's proposal outside of K through 12 education. With that also happened this year. It was a little bit more minimal this year. Capital advisors expected that to grow slightly, and it did this year. It went from a little over 1 million to I think about 3 or 4 million this year, but they're proposing to do the same type of little maneuver into next year as well. So the programs and expansions that the governor has put into place, they're in the implementation stage. So what that means is he's not going to be adding any new programs. He's going to focus on what's currently on the table. Tax collections could differ in our second half. So if they do change, if they go down, that could significantly adjust what the final budget looks like, and as well as any type of legislator modifications as this travels through legislation. So the proposed COLA for 26-27 is 2.41%. Now this is down from 3.02% that was originally proposed in the 25-26 budget when that was finalized. This could stay at the 2.41%. It could go up and it could go down. However, with us being in declining enrollment, we don't see the full effects of that 2.41%. In fact, since we dropped about 50 students from last year, our revenue does drop. And so for 26-27, we're projecting about another 40% decrease of enrollment. And that's due to people, we've kind of done a little research on that to kind of, we were curious, where are students going, right? And it seemed like we had a lot moving out of state, some of course they're private, some to other schools, but a majority was moving totally out of the area. So with the COLA, it's really intended to help with salary increases. There's always that 1.5% step in column year over year that we have to account for. And then the costs, the utilities, insurance, operational costs, and so forth.
So quick question, I think you might be on.
Oh,
slide
I do
that.
that a lot. Thank you. Because I'm looking at mine. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, so about the 2.4% COLA. So yes, so with the COLA, there's other costs, you know, for instance, PG&E, it goes up. We have solar. Solar does help offset it, but we are seeing, even with the offset, we are seeing some increase and so forth there. So CASBO is really emphasizing that it's not keeping pace with the actual district cost increases, and we can all feel that. We can't disagree with that. But it's not even fully helping with ongoing costs that are already in place.
So I just want to reiterate, so from 24-25 to 25-26, COLA went up, but our enrollment went down. So our net LCFF revenue went down.
It would go down, yes. So for 25-26, our COLA is slightly over 3%. It's projected in 26-27 to go down to the 2.4%.
Okay, thank you.
So for Proposition 98, this is again what I was talking about, the constitutional mandate. There's a minimum that has to be put towards Prop 28. In this case, it's about 125.5 billion. And that really is towards K-12 education, and it's continuing to project high levels, however. So you'll see per student funding is a little over 20,000 per pupil. However, this isn't just for K-12 students. This factors in community college, adult education programs, child development preschool programs, and county office of education programs. So that dollar amount isn't just for Proposition 98 for K-12 districts.
So just to clarify,
Mhm.
that is the total amount of the Prop 98 money divided by number of students TK through 14 in California? Or tell me.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Like, that is not a number that's specific.
No, yes.
I know.
Yes, it's- I know, and I'm like, yeah, no, it's definitely not our district. That would be amazing if that was our district, we would, yeah. Yeah. And then again, the 20,000, roughly almost 20.5 thousand for Prop 98 isn't just for K-12, it's the whole gamut across the board. There is a little bit of light in the tunnel. Thankfully, they put another discretionary block grant on the table. Again, it's one-time funds. You can't use it for ongoing funds. Currently, right now, it's projected to be about $512 per ADA. We're hoping that that keeps pace in the legislation. If that does, that would mean roughly about $680,000 for our district. Again, that'd be one-time funding. And we're just hoping it makes it through, especially with the talks of the deficit spending in the out years that the government is going to have to account for.
And when would we know if this one-time discretionary, like if it's going through?
When the budget is finalized in June.
In June.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they say, sorry, I'm going to that last slide you just had. That that a one-time discretionary block grant can be used for teacher recruitment and retention. That's one-time funding. Like what are they thinking in terms of that?
It would have to be in the form of a stipend or something like that, something that wouldn't be ongoing. So we couldn't add it to the salary schedule, but it could be like a stipend.
Yeah, so frustrating.
No, I agree 100%. Yes. Okay. So some highlights of the K-12 funding is the ELOP, expanded learning opportunities. That is definitely still in the budget, which is great. The difference is, and we started that this year, the tier 1 and tier 2, depending on your UPP, right? We fall under tier 2 because we have less than a 55% UPP count. And so what our allocation is $1,800 per ADA. Going into transitional kindergarten, that is fully implemented. We will see the COLA that will be applied to this as well. So that's up from about 5,500 per ADA, TK ADA, to about 56, almost 57 ADA. Universal meals, we're very thankful that that's going to continue. That's been a great program for our students, and we're very happy to see that it's continuing, and we hope that keeps its momentum throughout the years. Special education increases, they are going up slightly, and they will also receive the COLA. And for our district, when it comes to our funding, we really don't recognize a lot of it because we have students in, for instance, our COE programs and so forth. So that money is used in that way. So when we get our allocation, oftentimes we're having to pay the COE after they've already accounted for our special education allocation.
And sorry, would you just walk me through? So transitional kindergarten, it's increased by the COLA for this total.
Yes.
Per ADA.
Yeah.
So I think we're full with TK, right? We're not declining enrollment specifically in that grade. Is that right?
No, you are correct. And the difference is we're seeing this shift now. So before it used to be all the kinder enrollment. Now that's changing. So now we're seeing less kinder enrollment and more TK enrollment because that's the year that students are now starting to start school.
Okay, so our declining enrollment doesn't really affect that one part about transitional kindergarten, the funding for transitional.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No.
And is that specifically set aside for TK?
It's used for TK, yes, for teachers. I mean, the amount we receive isn't a huge amount. This year, we're projected to receive around $200,000, and that's used for teacher salaries. Yeah.
It's not like general, it's restricted.
It's LCFF dollars in our unrestricted general, but it's outlined for TK. So yeah. I don't know if that helps. I know that made it kind of a little layer, sorry, but it's one of those. It's for TK, exactly.
Yeah.
That has to be used for TK.
Not that I don't want to.
No, I hear you say, yeah.
Value TK, but.
Yeah, and if you were to look at the LCFF calculator, it's specifically a line in there that says TK.
Okay.
So with this budget, there are kind of some risks and cautions. So it maintains existing programs, but it's not eliminating any type of long-term risk that may come our way. CASBO and school services. School services is a great indicator. I really enjoy listening to their updates on the school budget and so forth. They really say avoid committing one-time funds to ongoing costs. It said they also say to plan conservatively, given enrollment trends and future state budget uncertainty. So we really fall under that enrollment trend. We're in decline in enrollment. And if the state budget has its uncertainties, that of course is going to trickle directly down to the district as well. So it says that we need to budget with caution, and we need to make sure that everything is balanced, and we have reserves in the future so we can make it through our third year out and so forth. That's extremely important, because if we don't make our third year out, then that's where we'll have issues. The minimum is 3%. If that doesn't even cover one payroll is about 1.9 million. So it's just really making sure we're fiscally solvent and so forth. Any other questions? I'm on the right page.
What is our 3-year out reserve balance at this point?
Currently 6.44%.
6.4. And the COE's guidance is 6, and the state's bottom is 3.
The state, the minimum, the state requires is 3%. The COE really doesn't have, like a 6%
They
or
don't,
so forth.
okay.
But their worry lights basically go on. And so that's an issue because they're saying, okay, if in the third year out, you keep on this trend where you're going downwards and your any fund balance is decreasing steadily every year, that's a huge red flag for them. And that's where they come in and say, you need to figure out what you're gonna do, how you're gonna make sure that your district stays solvent throughout all the years.
I looked back at it was the docket for September 17th. And one of the things that jumped out at me was, that was when we talked about basic aid, that our
Mhm.
district's potentially going to basic aid, which means that we're getting a different funding source. It's a different funding formula. And this was just, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how do we do this? And at a school, our average size, 1,000 to 500 ADA, right? I'm sorry, 15, keeps a 23% average reserve, right? We heard that 15 to 30%, the basic aid districts.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 is the minimum. So because you have to cover paychecks and things like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If we do get into basic aid sooner than later, depending on how property taxes come in at the end of this year, like I had said before, for first interim, they're very conservative with the COE estimates our property taxes are going to come in at. When we get into second interim, they'll increase them slightly, but they're still going to be conservative, not as conservative because now they're kind of trying to watch the trend. Then when we get into closing, and that's when we get the actual amount, and that's what happened last year. We got the actual amount and it ended up being a lot more than what they were predicting that was going to come in. So being that if we do fully go into basic aid, our funding mechanism is going to change. LCFF, we receive funding every single month, and that's what helps us stay afloat, make all of our payrolls and every other bill that needs to be paid each month. If we move into basic aid, we'll only receive funding 2 times a year, in December and in April. So then that's going to make cash flow super hard with a really low reserve. So it's just another layer that adds to everything.
Scott, when was the last time we rolled a parcel tax? What year was that? Do you remember?
2018 or 2019.
Was it 16?
We passed a bond in 2016.
Oh.
I want to say it was 2018 and 2019 that we went out for parcel taxes, but I could
The
confirm that.
last one, I really remember because the election was right around COVID, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was close, right?
Might have been 20.
It was, that wasn't as close as the one before.
They were both close.
Yeah.
One was super close. One was within like 50 votes. You have to have 66.6% of the vote, and we got 66.2.
Was that
Yeah.
changed now? I know some of
Still
those numbers,
2/3.
it's still 2/3. It's not the 55 that's.
Bonds are not parcel
Bonds are
tax.
55, right? So
I think there is a way if it's a ballot initiative, meaning.
It doesn't come from the school.
That doesn't come from the school district. If the community says we want to do a parcel tax as our own initiative, then it's just 55%.
That is my understanding,
Yes.
top
that's
level
majority.
understanding. I don't have an in-depth understanding of that process.
And then how would the parcel tax, if we did go that route or try something like that, how would that affect the basic aid and the new funding that we're a part of now?
My understanding is parcel tax would be its own separate revenue stream, and that we would only use that for salaries. So we would still get the basic aid amount, but then we'd have this separate pot of parcel tax that would be for salaries.
It would
That's
just
the
be for
understanding.
salaries, right?
That's my understanding, exactly, because that's what we would, if that's something we would try again, that's what we would go out for.
So
Right,
and if
'cause
the
that's our main
community
concern.
came up with this idea, it would be only we'd only need 55%.
There's that option.
That's
It's a lower threshold, so
because it's a community ballot initiative,
How
not
do
the
you-
district saying where we want to impose the taxes.
how would the community start that initiative?
Yeah, I can bring more information to you at a future board meeting if you would like.
It might be
Just
worth
process wise.
getting out there. I know there's a lot of interest in this right now. This, is an option that obviously we've been talking about and we continue to bring up. A parcel tax is a great way to add funds, and increase teacher salaries. You know, I just want to make sure that we're looking at everything on the table, and it'd certainly go a lot easier if it's a community initiative instead of us, because 55% is a lot easier to pass, especially after we just got the bond for the fields. You know, which is all infrastructure and can't go,
Can't be.
right, infrastructure and repair, but that cannot go towards salaries. Hey, just making sure I'm.
Nope, you got it. It's
Well-
totally different fund.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you, like, that's the magic sauce that so many of the districts over the hill have their basic aid, and they pass parcel tax
Yeah.
every 4 years, like, it's astounding, I mean, it's.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
clearly, and we heard from one, I think he was talking about Campbell, you know,
Yeah, right.
they have a parcel tax, I think, you know, Los Gatos does, Saratoga, you know. All those, that's what really helps drive that funding to teacher salaries.
Absolutely.
I think we need to start, you know, we need to continue to talk about things that are like that because the COLA is not the answer. When I came on the board in 22, the COLA was 13%, and then the next year it was 8%. But looking at like a 10-year history of the COLA, it's really like 1,
Well, that was COVID.
2, 3. That was COVID, yeah.
That was a COVID number, that
Yeah.
15%. I think we ended up giving a 15% raise.
We did.
The COLA was 13%. We
Yeah.
gave the teachers a 15% raise.
Exactly,
So we
yeah.
did more than what we were
Right.
able to do at that point in time. Even the next year, I think we still gave them.
Right.
You know, so I mean, yeah, I agree with you. You know, COLA is not the answer.
Yeah.
But a parent-led ballot initiative. Yeah.
It'd be a different.
And
It's yeah.
and community outreach, so everybody knows what we're trying to support and how we're trying to support our teachers, you know.
Yeah, I think that'd be great if we
More
could come back with more information that we could share with the community, but if folks are of the inclination to start that process.
Roger that.
Yeah. We gotta start somewhere, you know.
Did you have more, Allison, or was that?
Nope, that was the last one.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board, comments?
No.
Is there any public comment on this topic?
Hi, everybody.
Together.
I'm Lauren and
I'm Jillian.
This is Jillian.
Again.
We have actually been talking, we're parents at Santa Cruz Gardens. We are so committed to doing whatever we can to help this district. And we've already been talking about a parcel tax on the ballot for 2028.
A parent-led process.
Yes.
Oh.
So we would love to see where we can get with this. And we are happy to, like, this was great information to learn tonight about parent-led versus district-driven.
55%, way more achievable than 66.
Yeah.
667.
So Jill actually had a call on this yesterday. We're trying to lay some groundwork for getting this on a 2028 ballot. So it is something that matters to us, and we would love to work as hard as we can because we have this approach of why not? Because if it doesn't pass, then we are just in the same spot, but we might as well try. And so with your support of us leading that, that would be great.
Obviously, we'll need to talk with you about finances and figure out what makes sense as far as numbers, and we'll have to do some polling and, you know, all the things, focus groups, whatever. But yeah, we're down. We're happy to lead an exploratory committee and get things going.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
From what I understand, community-led parcel taxes are only a majority.
Yep.
Not,
55.
no, it's 50% plus one.
Oh.
So that's a majority.
Right, so it's not 50.5, it's actually 51%.
50%, yeah, 50%.
Sounds like we're gonna get
Yeah.
more information.
Anyways, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, Marilyn.
Yay.
Yep.
This seems like a concerted effort to destroy public education and what is beneficial to the community. And I keep thinking of that bumper sticker I had. It will be a great day when the schools have all the money they need, and the Air Force has to have a bake sale to buy a bomber. Unbelievable. It's topsy-turvy. We need to, like, if you join ICE, the Gestapo ICE, you get $50,000. There's a lot of money for that. We should have that money for the schools and public housing and food for everybody, etc. I attend Pajaro Valley School Board meetings as well, more frequently than this, because that's the district where I taught. And I was looking here about special ed ongoing funding, but then it said helps equalize funding among districts. I don't know what that means, but I attended a meeting that was packed with people crying out against taking away special ed teachers in Pajaro Valley schools, including a mother with her child who was severely disabled in a wheelchair and could hardly function. Many of the children who are in special ed are vaccine injured. Many are because of Pajaro Valley's use of pesticides, so that Pajaro Valley, Watsonville is the second highest pediatric cancer rate in the state, next to Kern County, much attributed to pesticides. So it seems like there should be an advocacy group to prioritize the funding differently than what is happening in this country right now. And I feel like this administration does not want people who are educated or critical thinkers or participants in their society or who are objecting to injustice by what ICE is doing. This, like, what's going on here? There's something really wrong. Thank you.
There any public comment over email?
No.
We have.
Okay, please.
Now that it came up, I'm just so curious, when it says the TK line and the money is just for TK, what does that mean? Like, where does it go? What does it do? What is it?
Salaries. So it goes to the
It only
TK.
goes to TK teacher.
Yeah, it's
So,
the salaries for TK. Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I don't know, it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's part of the LCFF calculation. So it's like an add-on because there's like even a transportation add-on and that goes to transportation to
No,
cover the
what
cost
if
of
that amount is like, what if that amount's like 200,000, but the 5 TK teachers only made 150,000, where does that 50,000 go?
it would still be used for whatever needs or what was needed for TK. So
Is
the,
that something we can find out if that's happening?
yeah, we would
Okay.
definitely know that, but
I'm just curious.
yeah.
I'm just curious.
It would be great if we're in that position. We're
Yeah, yeah, I just don't know.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
I
no,
just
no,
don't
no,
know.
no, it's
So I'm
okay.
like, what is
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah, no, I know the way they kind of do it, it's kind of misleading, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, but
Is there any extra TK money that's left
No.
over?
no. I wish there was,
I know.
but yeah.
I have a question. And forgive me, it's late, we're punchy, I'm tired. This might,
No.
this might be a dumb question.
There is no dumb
but
questions.
this is the thing about, I don't understand about basic aid and you don't have to explain that to me right now. But I do wanna understand, let's say, okay, the state requires 3%. If we have 6.4%, the 3-year budget out, and if the things change, I do understand the
Yeah.
need that the balance between risk and what is the thing that would happen if we couldn't pay the bills? If we project, we do a raise, we can't, and then it's 2 years out and we can't we've taken all our reserves. What does actually happen? Did the state take over? Do we do bankruptcy? Like,
The state comes in and takes over the district.
You get a negative budget.
Yeah.
And then state takeover.
Yeah.
There's been district, I'm trying to pick one else, the Inglewood was one for a while, where the state came in and ran the district for a while.
forgive me,
There's one
tell
up
me
north.
what that, I don't know what that means.
I mean, you don't have local control.
So there's
These-
no,
They don't make the decision, the state does.
Do they do layoffs? Like, what do you remember?
but like,
I don't remember specifically, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what we're trying to fight too, you know, because talking then to, and I don't know, I'm speaking out of turn
Yeah.
here, but you're talking to bean counters who just see numbers. They don't see people, you know, like we know all you guys, my kids went to school with you.
Right.
You know, so I think there's an advantage to having us fight for you guys and advocate for you guys. You know, state's looking at numbers and, oh gosh, well, she makes this much money. That's how we're, you know, I mean, there's a lot more cut and dried things that go into that instead of us trying to keep every single job and every person employed, still employed. And, you know, making those are part of the tough decisions that I think we're really trying to make, because we want to give everything to everybody, but we don't want anybody to lose a job. We don't want, you know, those are easy cuts to make. If you're talking about the state, you know, they're looking at a balance sheet and saying, okay, this, and this can go, and there are budgets balanced. You know, and we're making other hard decisions. I know Scott and the admin team are right now where we're making hard decisions and not replacing some people and trying to do the best we can with the amazing staff that we have right here. And, you know, yeah.
I don't think any group involved in any of those districts would tell you state takeover was a good experience.
Yeah.
So.
doesn't sound good.
No.
No, it sounds,
Yeah.
yeah, sounds 1984.
Yeah.
And what's another, that statistic of how much is our monthly budget? What percent of these numbers is the monthly budget? But didn't you say it was at 6%?
Something around there. I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now.
The monthly is 1.9, right?
Yeah, but so
That's-
1 month
that's
of our,
only, that's only salary
Right.
is $1.9 million.
no, tell us, yeah, 1 month of our budget of paying our bills is.
Yeah, it's roughly, I think, around 5% of our budget. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Mhm. So
So 1 month is 5%. That's just 1 month.
roughly, yeah. And it has its ebb and flows with, you know, payables, right? Salary pretty much stays the same, but if anything comes out in payables, it could fluctuate slightly. Yeah.
But so that LCFF is more regular intervals of funding, but
Mhm.
basic aid is 2 times a year, the
Mhm.
funding, which
And-
is why you need that bigger
Yeah.
percent
Yeah.
as a cushion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you need to float those extra months, because
Mhm.
instead of the LCSF, which is monthly, we're looking at 2 big drops
Yeah.
during the year. So we've got to survive those other months
Yeah.
when we don't have that money,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
and that's where we're going into. We're moving into this basic aid.
Potentially, we don't know.
Yeah, we're not 100% there yet. Yeah.
As with lots of things, there's a ton of uncertainty about
That's-
basic aid, and
Yeah.
it's probably the most uncertain of anything is the basic aid.
Absolutely. That's the hard part right now is that since we're teetering, we're almost there, but we're not quite there. So it's all the unknowns of getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's predicated a lot based on ADA and enrollment.
Basic aid?
Yeah.
Well, no, has a lot to do with property taxes. So once our property taxes exceed our LCFF amount,
Right.
that puts us into basic aid. So as our enrollment is dropping and property taxes are going up, and that's when the basic aid status will be more.
So we won't go into basic aid if property taxes go down and our enrollment goes up.
Absolutely.
Right. Which is the exact opposite of where we are, because property taxes continue to rise and enrollment continues to go down. So the odds of us going into basic aid look pretty strong.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Be rooting for basic aid.
Not necessarily the golden.
Basic.
Teetering is terrible.
Yeah.
We're in the worst place in that.
Peter,
If
you're-
you go
Not-
deep into
yeah.
basic aid, you get more fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You get-
And that's a
Over
good
the
thing.
hill.
But
That's
we're
what
like,
we got.
we're in this like really nasty gray place right now where we don't know anything.
Yeah.
And we're getting this minimalistic amount of funding right now. So if we're either up here or down here, things are better. You know, right here is not good, you know, and I don't want to root for deep basic aid. But
Well, and the tricky part is so the state will certify districts as being basic aid districts, right? So once they give you that certification, it either comes out around June or July. And say you go all year and they say you're a basic aid district. And say come the end of the year, you're not a basic aid district. Well, for our district, we would lose about $300,000 because since they certified us as a basic aid district, we wouldn't get a supplemental pot of funding that's part of the taxes. So that's the tricky part. It's like we want to get really into it, but not teeter, because that's where it's not good. Yeah.
That's no, I'll add.
Yeah.
Is-
See, my daughter was at mountain school, but they must have been deep into it, right?
Well,
It was
well,
really good.
But they're not now.
Not there.
That's
Yeah.
actually the example I was just gonna use. Well, they got to the point where it was actually, yeah, it was actually more advantageous to go back to LCFF. So there's a district that's gone the opposite direction as us. Yep.
so their enrollment is actually going up and
It was more about property tax.
more about property.
Yeah.
No, you referenced the September board meeting.
Yeah.
And that's where we had the presentation from the County Office of Ed about
Mhm.
basic aid. It was a really good
was
presentation. And
good.
so if anyone wants to watch it, it was, what did you
The
give the date of it?
September 17th.
Yeah,
Really.
it was,
Yeah.
And it was an outside agency that.
it was the COE.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if anyone's curious.
I'll watch it tonight.
8
It was only 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, very meaty stuff. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Allison.
and appreciate your involvement.
Yeah.
And learning and knowing that.
Yeah.
Thanks for your
We
question.
want you guys to know.
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now we are moving on to a discussion around TKK schedules and childcare options.
Great. I will go kind of over the big picture here. I'm glad to see we have some TK teachers in our audience who will, I'm sure, help inform this at the very ground level. And so several years ago, we switched over to a staggered schedule for kindergarten and now TK and K. And it really did come from teachers. And the idea was to get some small group time. Not too much different than what Mr. Broadhurst presented on earlier. In terms of just being able to capitalize on small group instruction. And so the way it works, you can see in the schedules there, is that about half the class, it's not always half, right, but about half the class comes early, and the other half comes a little bit later. The schools come up with very creative names rather than just early start and later start. Later Gators, I think is one. I don't know, what is it, Cubs, early Cubs? So they of course come up with very student-friendly ways of saying it. And so this is a mechanism that was designed for better instruction, more individualized instruction, more small group instruction. And so sometimes the other side of that coin is that it can be an inconvenience for families, especially a later start. So generally speaking, all this is generally speaking, right? But generally speaking, the early slots are more coveted. And so sometimes those families with the later slots have to figure out, you know, how to be able to cover that first part. A working family, for example, they need to get to work at 8 o'clock and the later start doesn't start till 9 something. How do you manage that, right? So couple of things last year, the topic came up. And it's always just like anything else. We want to be able to, you know, we don't say static, we say, is it working for us? And so the first thing we did is did a survey to the current TK and K teachers, because who's better to ask than people that are actually doing the job, the experts. And you can see the results of the survey there. We basically asked, you know, is this working for you neutral? Is this actually counterproductive? Is it productive or is it really productive? And you can see from the results that majority came out very productive. So that time was meaningful to their instruction. And then you can see a nice long list of, we gave an open-ended question. You can see a nice long list of comments there. And And then over the years, as we fine tune this, we also wanted to be really responsive to families and transparent. And so we developed, I think it was at the beginning of last year, maybe the end of the year before, that list of priorities, so that families knew how we were choosing who got the slots. And so you can see that first priority there, siblings makes sense, right? Because if you're going to drop your fourth grader off at 8 o'clock, you should probably be able to align that as much as possible. Special ed needs. Next list down was unduplicated students with an equity lens. Children of staff is the next priority, so on. So that we were really transparent about how these slots are being assigned. And so that the real challenge is for the later start families, for that hour and 15 minutes, between when the regular school day starts and when the later group starts. We've tried different ways over the years. And so we've tried using ELOP. But ELOP is of course tied to unduplicated students. So not all the families that needed that slot were unduplicated. And then CKC, our childcare partner, has tried to help us out a few different times. And good intentions offer, morning coverage for that time. But they need at least like 6 or 7 students to be cost neutral. So they're willing to do it for even cost neutral. They've been really good partners on that. But they usually just get like 2 or 3 students, and each time they've had to fold the class So always looking for ways to fill that little gap. And so really the purpose of tonight is just to let you know we're still looking at that, because we value that this is working for our teachers, but we also understand that for some families it's an inconvenience. So one thing that I reached out to the County Office of Education about is what would it look like if we had like a recess coach take that time with students. And so it can get a little tricky. I know, like on the surface, it's like, why couldn't you do that? And we maybe we can, but supervising students, with classified staff during the school day is, something to really be careful about. And so I just wanted, in an abundance of caution, to put to make sure we don't put the district at risk. I wanted to get confirmation that we could have classified staff supervise those students for that hour and 15 minutes. I think that we can. I think it's logical that we can. I just want to be really certain that that's the case. The argument to me why we can do that is because that's not part of their instructional minutes. So it's almost just like when a student, a 4th grader comes early to school and there's somebody on the playground to supervise them, right? That's my logic, makes common sense, but every once in a while the regulations don't align with the logic. So our partners at the COE are actually working with CDE, California Department of Education, just to make 100% sure that that's an option that we can offer. But that's what we're working on right now. I'm waiting to get some of those answers back. We're always looking for ways to make it work for both parties, to continue the structure that's working for our teachers, and to see if we can make it a little bit more convenient for some of our families. So that's kind of the status update on it.
Thank you for that update, and thanks for looking at a creative option for how we can meet some of our families' needs. I have a question on this priority ranking. How do they get notified that, there is this timeline that they should be applying for TK, and there is this rubric for who gets, the first consideration for the early slot?
Well, we send out information on when registration starts, and we encourage families to apply as soon as possible. So, Jen, anything you would add to that, since you do a lot of that? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. So notification for start time placement, the first notification happens literally as office managers are leaving in June. They go through every completed registration and do placement, and letters go out to families. So anyone who has completed registration by the time they leave in June gets notified with their start time then. Anyone, and then subsequently when they come back, and any registrations they complete after they return, then get a notification right before school starts, basically, because that's, and then with their, and then it's kind of, I think they do, I used to do a reminder to everyone who already got one, they get another letter, and then letters to those who haven't got letters yet.
And when does registration open? In the
January 23rd registration opened.
Already rocking and rolling. Thank you, Jen. You can see why I wanted her
Yeah,
input,
right.
having been an office manager, now doing it for the whole district, you know, she has a special insight into it.
Board member?
Yeah, that's okay. Following up on that, when people pick up their registration, I'm like dating myself. You still go and actually pick up a packet, or is it all like online? I mean, I know there's internet campus and all that, but when they make that first contact with office staff, I want to enroll my child. At that point, when it's TK kinder, are they given information about like, you know, we've got this staggered start, and so they get
Yeah,
they get
the information,
about
the
rubric.
information about the start time, everything is given when they're registering, and then actually on the NIC, when they do the online registration, is where they put their preference. So as they're doing the online registration, they can put their preference on whether they would like the earlier start or the later start.
And then IC would ask them the questions about in terms of the rubric for
No,
readers.
they're just given that information. The IC doesn't tell them that.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
But they
that's
find
just
out.
information, yeah, they're given.
Thank you for bringing this back to us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for looking into this solution of having like a recess coach. And I also appreciate being like really diligent and thorough to make sure. that
Anytime
we're-
of student supervision, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not, very risky person in that area. But also just really remembering, like we had parents coming and speaking to us with really like hard situations that I think we can all relate to. So I'm just grateful that we're moving to something that I feel optimistic about.
I'll be excited to bring an update to the board when I have one.
I was really grateful for the teacher narratives. I felt like the teachers really gave thorough answers. So thank you guys, the kindergarten teachers, for just sharing what your day is like. And it was overwhelmingly in support of the staggered schedule, which in my mind, if we're gonna have that staggered schedule, we have to find a way to support parents with the childcare. It's not equitable. I mean, if I had a little kid, I couldn't get, you know, I'd have to find someone, and it'd be really hard. I don't have family that could cover that. So that's really hard. And I do want to acknowledge that I did hear on those surveys that some teachers could see the benefit of a full day. That some of the students miss out on morning greetings. They're tired at the end of the day and it's hard to teach. Noticing on minimum days, there's kind of a steady consistency of energy. And then on the other side, those teachers that really value that staggered time, just the valuable academic time where they can really connect in with those students and make connections. And just be, you know, up here, we just look at numbers a lot of times. So to be able to see those narratives from teachers is so valuable. And I hope that you guys will come speak when the time comes. But to me, it just seems like it's an equity situation. If we keep a staggered schedule, we have to do something. And if we can't do something, then maybe we need to have a whole day for the kids. I feel like we have to do something here. I don't feel like we can just do another year of how it was.
And I was just gonna point out that we got an email from one of her teachers expressing that she really does appreciate the staggered schedule and she would like to keep that going. So.
Yeah, that's probably a good segue to public comment for this topic. We have at least 3 in the room, if they're still here. Kristen, yeah, you're still here? Want to come up?
Good evening, members of the board, superintendent. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Kristen Rinaldi. I'm a math teacher at New Brighton Middle School, where I've taught for the past 9 years. I'm also a parent of an 8th grader at New Brighton and a 4-year-old who will be entering kindergarten at Main Street this fall, I hope. I'm here to speak about the current kindergarten schedule and the lack of before and after school childcare options. Right now, kindergarten at Main Street runs from 8:30 or 9:30 until early afternoon, with very early dismissal on Fridays. As a teacher in this district, this presents a significant challenge. I cannot realistically drop my daughter off at 8:30 and arrive at my classroom on time and prepared. My first class begins at 8:36. And the traffic from Main Street to New Brighton during that window only adds to the difficulty. I did consider enrolling my daughter in TK last year. However, even that schedule, with the start time as early as 8:15, is still very restrictive with my work schedule and cuts it extremely close to my start time. In addition, I will still need reliable after-school care in order to continue working full-time, which is not guaranteed. Unfortunately, before-school care is not currently offered. When my older child attended Main Street, before-school care through CKC was available, allowing me to drop her off at 7:30 and still be ready for my students at 8:30. But that option no longer exists. My husband must be at work at 5 a.m., so he cannot assist with morning drop-off. So as a result, the current system places working families like myself in a position where they must rely on family support, which I don't have much of, or hire private morning care. For many of us, especially in a district that is known as the lowest paid district in the county, for teachers, ongoing nanny care is simply not financially realistic. After-school care through CKC does exist, but the enrollment's limited, with priority given to siblings of current students. Teachers in the district and former CKC students are not given priority, which makes access uncertain. I believe 6 years ago, they gave priority to teachers, but no longer. These limitations make it difficult for families like mine to remain at our neighborhood school, even when we want to stay in the district and be part of the community we serve. I respectfully ask the board to consider an earlier kindergarten start time. I believe Rio and Mar Vista start at 7:50, which I know is very early for teachers, but they also have supervision beforehand, which any sort of supervision would be ideal. We need an earlier start time, expanded reliable childcare options before and after school, and these changes would better support working families, district employees, and ultimately the students we all want to succeed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Casey Ryberg.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, members of the board and superintendent, and thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. I echo what others have shared in terms of the childcare options. I also just wanted to highlight just the shortened day. I also want to recognize that I do think that the staggered start and having just 10 students to one teacher is very, very, very valuable and very rewarding. And I don't want to negate or take that away. But in general, it's a very real impact on our students and families. Currently, our TK and kinder students attend school for 5 hours per day, while neighboring elementary schools provide 6 to 6.5 hours of instruction. That difference may sound small, but over the course of a school year, it adds up to 180 fewer hours. And over the 2 most foundational years of education, that's 360 hours less learning time for children. So you mentioned an equity issue. I agree. Those early years are critical. Research consistently shows that extended instructional time in early childhood supports stronger language development, social emotional growth, self-regulation, and long-term academic success. This is the age when children learn how to learn through guided play, collaboration, repetition, and relationship building. When the school day is shortened, what's lost is not just academics, but enrichment, flexibility, and the time children need to grow confidently and holistically. Families see this difference. I serve on the Friends of Main Street for the past 2 years, and we hear it all of the time that they are not choosing our school district because of this schedule. Many parents are choosing to delay or opt out of TK altogether. You just heard a teacher delay TK enrollment because of the schedule. Keeping their children in preschool simply because preschool offers longer, more developmentally supportive hours. Others are choosing to leave our district for alternative schools such as Twin Lakes or Mountain School, where the longer school day better reflects both educational best practices and family realities. These decisions are not about the quality of our teachers, they are about time. The current schedule also creates a significant challenge for working families, as you have all mentioned. A 9:30 a.m. start time is extremely difficult to manage. It disrupts work schedules, increases childcare costs, and disproportionately affects families who do not have flexible jobs or extended support systems like family. Instead of easing the transition into school, the school adds stress at a moment when families are already navigating a major life change. Dismissal times compound this challenge. Early release at 1:15 for those we call them early birds, or even 2:30 is difficult on its own. But for families with older siblings who are dismissed at 2:50 or after 3 o'clock, it becomes a daily logistical burden. How am I going to pick up my TK at 1:15, but my third grader at 2:50? And I work full time. No clue. Parents are forced to choose between missed work, extra childcare, or splitting siblings across multiple programs, all of which create inequity and strain. At its core, this is an issue of equity, access, and retention. Our children are receiving significantly less instructional times than their peers. And so I urge you to consider not just the schedule and childcare options. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Colin?
Hi, good evening. Hi, so I haven't spoken in front of this board before, so this is my first board meeting, and I appreciate hearing the budget issues that you all are experiencing, and that gives context. And I think that this topic might give some context to it. So my name's Colin Disharoon. I'm a father of 3. My daughter Sonora is at TK at Main Street Elementary, and our 3-year-old will be starting there in August. We like Main Street. The teachers are kind. The community's warm. This isn't about criticizing the school, but it's about the schedule. The 9:30 start time is incredibly hard on working families. It's not just inconvenient. It's disruptive, it's stressful, and frankly, it's inequitable. Most working parents start their day between 7:30 and 9. A 9:30 school start means there is a 2-hour gap every morning where families are scrambling to find childcare, rearrange work schedules, or simply fall behind before the day even begins. For us, Sonora's first week was honestly hell. She hated going, not because of the school, but because the morning felt chaotic, unstructured, and stressful. Instead of a calm routine that sets a child up for success, we were in a daily scramble, and kids feel that. Young children thrive on rhythm and predictability. They do better when their day starts earlier, when the world around them is in motion. A late start pushes everything back. Meals, naps, after school time, family time, bedtime, it ripples through the entire household. This schedule unintentionally favors families where a parent is home and available mid-morning. That's not the reality for many working class families, single parents, or households with 2 working adults. Those families are the ones absorbing the burden of this decision every single day. And the hard truth is when school systems don't align with working life, families quietly suffer. They don't always come here to say it, they just struggle through it. We're lucky enough to have made it work. Many families don't. But this isn't just a logistics issue, this is an equity issue, a family stability issue, and a student readiness issue. I'm asking the board to seriously reevaluate the 9:30 start time for TK and early elementary grades, and to consider what a school day looks like through the lens of a working family. Because the first experience as a child with a school should feel safe, steady, and supportive, not rushed, stressful, and misaligned with the lives of families that you serve. Just to point out, Sonora, we've gotten on the wait list now for Mountain Elementary because of this. And I think this kind of dovetails possibly into what I heard earlier, is that enrollment in SoCal schools is down and Mountain Elementary School is up.
10 seconds.
Okay, so just so you know, we have another one coming up. If the schedule isn't fixed, we're probably gonna have to make that move. But thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There was one via email that I just sent you.
Yeah, and that was from somebody in the room, so do you want me to read that?
Oh, sure.
Okay, just want to make sure. Because usually we'll get an email and an in-person, so if you want to read it, you can, I can. All right, in the voice of Miss Freitas, very good. Dear members of the school board, I hope you're doing well. I am writing to express my support for continuing the staggered day schedule for transitional kindergarten and kindergarten. A staggered start provides young students with a more gradual and developmentally appropriate transition into school. Transitional kindergarten students in particular benefit from targeted instruction that focus on social emotional development, routines, and foundational learning skills. Kindergarten students, meanwhile, require dedicated instructional time to begin formal reading and literacy instruction. Smaller groups during the staggered period allow teachers to better tailor instruction to meet these distinct developmental and academic needs. Additionally, staggered schedules give educators valuable time to build strong relationships with students, observing learning styles, and identify areas where additional support may be needed early in the year. While I understand that staggered schedules can require additional planning for families, I believe the benefits to student adjustment, instructional quality, and long-term success are significant. Thank you for your continued dedication to our schools and for considering parent perspectives when making decisions that impact our youngest learners. I appreciate your time and leadership.
Thank you.
Can I add one thing? It's not 2 minutes.
Yeah.
One thing when I wrote that, I was thinking of is right now we have a lot of combo classes. And so we have every school has a TKK class. And so it's really important for those teachers. I don't have it, so I'm lucky, but TKK is completely different. So if you have a stagger day, you teach the kinders in the morning, exactly what they need. The other kiddos come, you work together. The afternoon, you teach what TK needs. If they're all together, I don't know how that teacher would teach kindergarten. You would have to teach TK first, I feel like, because it's so hard. You need those little groups of kinders. They're learning to read. And I absolutely know the struggle as a parent, because I have 2 kids. I mean, they're grown, and I went through the struggle, and I had to work part-time when they were in kindergarten. It was just the schedule that was given, and I was like, okay, I gotta make it work somehow. And I made it work because that's what it was. I don't know. It was just what I had to work with. But I completely get what parents are doing. I do. It's really hard. And I also encourage so many of my parents who say that to me, like, I have a TK coming. I'm like, go register right now. It's January. Get on the list. You'll be first. And you will get into that time slot. I know that doesn't always happen, but as a teacher, it's just so like, I don't know what I would do without having the small groups of those kiddos. It would just be impossible to teach them what they really need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask if any other kindergarten teachers in the room could talk about the TKK combo and what that might be like?
Oh, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like that having that small group time lets me give each group exactly what they need. And I was very lucky to be able to I have all my kinders together and all of my TKs together. And so I can design that time with my kinders. We are accomplishing so much, and I am making sure they get everything they need. And when we're all together, we're building community, and we're doing so much together, just social, emotional, and relationships. All of our enrichments are together. And then in the afternoon, I can give those TKs that play all of that time that they need and all of those skills that they need specific to where they are developed. If I didn't have that time, it would be really, I think, difficult, next to impossible to give them what I feel I can give them in that smaller time. I'm so careful and think so detailed about how to make the most of that time. And I hope that we can find a way to support families with CKC or classified staff, because I understand it's really difficult too, but it's kind of magical that time.
And if you just had a class of just TK, would you still want that staggered start time, or is it more age?
Yeah, I feel like that small group time is when you get to check in with individuals. You get to build that strong relationship. You get to take the time that you don't always have when you have the whole group together. When you have the whole group together, there's energy moving the class. When you have that small group time, you can focus on individuals, how their morning is going, how home's going. And I feel like when you've got the whole group, it's like the same. Be able to
Thanks.
That's really well articulated.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Did you want to share anything?
I do as well, TK only, a little different than at Main Street, our TKK program isn't kindergarten in the early birds and TK, so. It is imperative almost that they have the small group because they're teaching two classes within that, so they're able to differentiate between the learning of the TKers and the kindergartners in that small group. But I have to agree with the little TKs, if they experience separation anxiety, if you have 24 of them coming in at the same time. To say it would be calm and structured is far from what you would see and what you would get in 24 students coming in at the same time. Also, being a working parent, to change the time for a TK parent to come in earlier or teacher to come in earlier would offset how I take care of my personal children that I also have to take to school. So there's just so much more differentiated learning, ability to assess the students, to know where they are, ability to group the students and create lessons so that you are seeing lots of progress throughout the school day. So I 100% support the staggered day. And would be very, that's one reason I always stay in this district, just because of that schedule. So that one would be the lowest paid, then we would also on top of it. Have to take on 24 students at the same time seems completely. That's no teacher.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question if that's okay. I know CKC is a really valued partner to the district. Would it be possible or appropriate to talk to them about whether they're at all open to like aligning their prioritization to our rubric in terms of, we heard that staff that our staff used to get some priority.
Give them that
for
input for sure.
CKC,
Yep,
and
yep.
they're not anymore. I mean, that's really painful, and I know it's their program, but if there's a way just in partnership to explain this.
I will pass that along.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do we know why parents didn't want to utilize the service? Is it financial on that end?
I think that was a main reason. Yes. Yeah.
It hasn't been offered for 6 years.
I have a good question.
We have done it at SoCal.
Okay,
Yeah.
at Main Street, I don't know that it was offered, or if it was, I don't know if it was. Offered like at registration so that they could be getting real numbers of whether or not they are gonna have enough before school starts, because families have to plan ahead and know, do I have the care or not, because that's gonna affect where they can be. So it seems like that stuff really needs to happen at registration, which I don't think that it did at Main Street this year, but maybe it could go forward.
Well, and then sometimes they just don't have the staff to even consider it, right? So I will pass along to CKC, both you and
Knowing their threshold, but like if you get this amount of interest, would it be enough to hire the staff necessary?
Yeah.
Timeline.
Yes.
And then just to clarify, you said teachers are third in line for the staggered choice?
Yes. I have different opinions about that, but that was established last year, so.
Why, what's the reasoning behind that, Scott?
Well, what's the order? It's, what is it?
It's siblings.
Sibling.
And special ed, and then it's our unduplicated, so foster youth and.
That's 2.
And then teachers are
And then
third.
teachers are third.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And former siblings don't count.
The idea is siblings, to align schedules where they're going to the same school.
You had a question?
Next CKC board meeting is February 17th.
Forgot we had. There you go. Can I check that box on there? I passed it on.
So that would be a good place to speak to the board members and
Where
let
did
them
they
know.
meet? Yeah.
Excuse me?
Where did they meet?
Thank you.
across
Thank
the-
you. Thank you
very much, man. Come back.
Thanks, Colin.
Yeah.
Business complex, right near the freeway.
Can I just reiterate what you said at the beginning was that the people at the county office are communicating with the California Department of Education to
Yeah.
find out the legality or whatever
Yeah.
about classified being able to be that person. So in theory, you'll get do we have a timeline?
I don't have a timeline. I've tried to pester gently, but.
Yeah, because once we know, that would be a game changer,
Mhm.
right? Because
Yeah.
then we would be able to say, okay, but you can drop off starting at
Yes.
7:45 or whatever.
Yep.
In theory.
That's
So
the idea.
if we wanted to put our prayers behind something.
Are you
Yeah.
talking to them about afternoon coverage?
Well,
Is that part of the thinking? The
It-
question is the same question.
It's the same question, so it would give us the option.
Yeah.
Our focus for implementation initially would be
Be the
that morning
morning.
block, but it's nothing saying we,
We couldn't do afternoon.
as long as we can make it work with recess coach schedules, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a brief follow-up question to that. So say you get the answer yes, do you have the funding to pay that individual?
Yo.
Is like extra TK money that we heard about, then can that go to somebody?
There is an extra TK money.
Yeah, it's the TK implementation.
Okay.
But it's for.
At that point, we would sit down with each principal, look at recess coach schedules, as you probably know. Sometimes recess coach staffing is full, and sometimes they're really hard to come by. So that could be a factor. So that's why, I don't want to say it's a slam dunk once we get the okay. But our next step after that would be to sit down with each principal, look at recess coach staffing, look at recess coach hours, and see if we can make it work.
And more money, right?
Well, I mean, it depends on this. That's why I say it's kind of on a case by case, because our recess coaches, a few years back, we went from yard duties to recess coaches with the intentionality of saying it's not a lot of people who want to come in for 15 minutes at recess and then come back an hour and a half later for lunch. Like that's a hard position to fill.
Yeah.
So I think creatively we're able to have a new position so that those folks can do some work in between that time, right? And so it's getting into the nitty gritty of those schedules and seeing maybe if that time can be redistributed. So it could end up being cost neutral, but it's really, we need to dig into the weeds of each schedule once we get that clearance.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a question, because we have a recess coach watching kids from 8 to 8:10
Mhm.
on the playground.
Yeah.
Is that does that count as the same? Let's say we change it. to
I think
7:45.
yes, I'm in an abundance of caution. I want to have something in writing.
Is it,
from-
yeah, because it's the same, right?
I think, yes, yeah.
I mean, what do we call that?
Is it because of the ages? Is that?
Well, it's just very atypical to have that long of a block of time, right? So
Oh,
like what
it's
you're
the
talking
short
about.
time doesn't
Yeah.
seem. And one more question to follow up, since the parents are so game to participate in helping in all the ways, seems, is this something that could be, we have a parent. Home, right? I'm like trying to does everybody?
That's exactly what I'm thinking though,
Right,
is
like,
that
if-
we could sponsor or supplement that stipend amount.
And does it?
Well, I can just say, because I'm on FOMS, so we've talked about it many times, and the goal of FOMS is like how for all, and so
Right.
you're just getting money for a very small portion, and so it's not really the most equitable use of our funds, and so that's why we haven't paid for kind of childcare before and after school, because it only goes to a very small portion of the student body.
Right. It does go into the collective of the family and all that expense through all the kids.
But to Scott's point, it may end up being cost neutral, so that's not the hurdle that we're at right now. We're sort of administratively making sure that it could work, so. It sounds like we have a few good options to explore. Yes.
So do we know like the timeline for figuring out so families can plan on child options for morning and after school?
I don't know the time. I'm waiting for an answer.
But I just would, I would just like to say that this is pressing and this is on our mind and we are investigating this. So we don't have an answer in this moment, but that's. We are hearing the importance of making those decisions.
And parents will be notified when this is all. So.
Yes.
And this is why we have the discussions too. We urge you guys to come back, be involved like this. This is great. And it helps us find solutions, love the engagement.
He does it.
I don't.
Thank God, I'm freezing.
I'm perennially hot, so like, you gotta tell me if you're freezing.
I wore sandals today because it was 77 degrees in Los Angeles.
It was warm today.
Okay, any last comments?
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think we're moving on to. Let's give a moment for
Thank
folks
you.
to
Yeah.
exit.
Thank you.
Discussion regarding the district's fiscal prioritization team.
Yes, so that would be me. So our last meeting was in December. Our next meeting will be in March. After our March meeting, we will be transitioning to monthly meetings
Mhm.
for your request. But the March meeting had already been set up, so yeah, we need to get to that. So so on the FET committee, there's 2 board members, 2 union members, 2 principals, the director of fiscal services, superintendent and assistant schools, I was gonna say school services, sorry. Which was, formerly, prior to that, it was, the assistant superintendent of educational services that attended. So at our last meeting, our focus was on, basic aid, being that this is so new to us and there's so much unknown that we really need to start kind of diving into, start understanding a little bit more of what it looks like in basic aid, what we need to kind of prepare for. And so we talked about the volatility of revenue. Property taxes fluctuate. So if we're only basic aid, of course, and then we're only receiving property taxes, and what happens if those property taxes drop? We have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared for the December and April payments versus being paid revenue monthly. We have to make sure that we're able to float our payrolls, our AP runs and so forth each month. So that's super important. And that was what we're kind of focusing on. Because once we do get to the point where we are basic aid, the state isn't going to backfill any funding for us. So we won't have additional funding from the state. It'll all be property taxes. Let me try to. So another thing that unlike LCFF, you know, will cover you know, with the COLA, hypothetically, if your enrollment's going up and you get the COLA, you know, that kind of helps fund any increased costs, like, you know, we talked before, inflation, STRS and PERS. STRS pension rates remain flat and they're projected to remain flat, but PERS always goes up anywhere from 0.5% to 1% each year. So that's always added to the budget. And then going back to the importance of, you know, the reserves, being prepared for any kind of spikes that we may have, being prepared for any unknowns that we have. And that's why when the COE came out and talked to us, they said it was super important to have, you know, they recommend a 15 to 30% reserve. And that would make sure we could float our cash from December through April and so forth, just to make sure we didn't get stuck in a bind where we couldn't make payroll, we couldn't make our AP runs and so forth. So that was really our focus. And then the other thing we looked at is I really thought it was important to show the comparison of what property taxes looked at, like at first interim, second interim, and then closing last year to see where the big difference came into play. It was super low projected at first interim. And it went up slightly at second interim, but then at closing is where it went up by roughly like 7%, where we're projecting to get less than the prior year originally. So we went over that. I went over interim by interim and closing, and then just kind of talked about that. We talked about how the COE did pull back a little bit of our funding, about 140,000 of our ERAF funding. Otherwise, it would have kicked us into premature basic aid. So they went ahead and they reduced our property taxes overall by 140,000 at the end of the day after we closed and so forth. And other than that, then we scheduled our March meeting and yeah. So
any questions? We just.
What's on the agenda for March?
It'll be, we'll go over second interim and see where we're sitting that second interim. Look to see if there's anything else that's projected to be proposed or anything like that. We'll see what we're looking at. We'll look at property taxes again too, to see where we came in at second interim as well as LCFF, to see what we look like, kind of compare. Yeah.
Because this group came up, the FP Fiscal Priorities Team, I can barely speak, came up with kind of the ballpark last year, right? Of like, we'd like to
Save
save
about
about
500,000 each year.
And so at the meetings, do you then kind of pull out the big thermometer? Where are we? Where are we as we approach this?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's something that we'll be doing at our next meeting to see if we're on track of what we projected and so forth.
And is that an opportunity to have some of the outside the box thinking, like people talked about tonight, like a place with like, is there an opportunity at those meetings? Because I'm not the board member who's on them, so I trust y'all who are, but
no,
like, is there
yeah,
space for that?
there's always an opportunity for that. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
And then would you explain, because we talked about that saving that $500,000 because we're in deficit spending. Could you just
Correct.
explain the deficit spending that we're in right now?
So currently this year, we're our deficit spending is about 1.2 million. So we've been trying to curb it. So it's been kind of it ebbs and flows, right? So we predict if we do about a $500,000 savings each year and we're able to stick to that. Granted, there's other things that come into play. Our revenue, changes. We can look at our budget today, but tomorrow's going to look totally different, right? It's full funding. So our target is the 500,000. And so in 26, 27, that's really helping curb our deficit spending. It brings it up. I believe it was about 700,000 deficit spending. And then by the time we get to year 3, if we do another 500,000 roughly, it really drops us down with a slight increase of funding, nothing major. We'll be almost out of deficit spending if we can stick to that plan.
Almost manageable.
Yes, almost manageable.
I'm on to you.
And then would you explain the difference between, like, we're doing all these wonderful facilities improvements. So how is that separate from our deficit spending?
That's in a separate account. That's totally separate. That can't be used for any type of salaries. It can't be used for any type of supplies, any other costs like that. It's specifically facilities and it's kept in a separate fund. So we have our bond. That's what we've been doing all the planning around the entire district with. The field, that was Fund 35. That was state matching funds. Again, that's a separate fund. How to use that only for facilities, can use it for anything else. Even our Fund 25, which is capital facilities, where we receive RDA and developer fees, that can only be used for facilities as well.
Yeah, it's so deceiving that we have these beautiful brand new fields and yet we're deficit spending. It's like, wait, what?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 500,000 that was identified, where is that coming from? What are the things that we're saving on?
So our focus is on attrition. So anytime there's a position that becomes vacant, we are asking ourselves and asking, the team, can we afford not to fill that position? For instance, payroll is one. There's another position as well in the business office that we didn't fill, as well as assistant soup of ed services. We did not fill. So we look at each one and we ask, is this something that we can manage? Is it something that would be unmanageable if we didn't fill it, and so forth? So that's what we're focusing on. Yeah, and anytime, say if there's even a retiree or something like that, we also look at those positions. So
What about the thing that I can't pronounce?
Hi.
Oh.
Would you like to talk about
Yeah.
that? Might.
Standing report now. We received our first checks, which is really exciting. I was on a call with TED Health, which is the electronic healthcare record company who we work with. They're working all across the state. I'm a little competitive. And so I asked them, I was like, are we first, and we are in the county, aside from PVUSD. And it's thanks to the work of so many people, and truly every department to make it happen. And so we are really excited about it for the tons of people watching on YouTube. You know, I check our dashboard every day, and if we could bill for everything that our counselors do every day thus far, or be reimbursed for that, it would, I think today was $324,000. It depends on consent though. We have to have consent to do that. We have consent for just under 50% of our students in the district. Our goal is 50% for this year. For next year, our goal is 75%. And the really important thing about that, and the thing that we've said all along, is we're not going to game our system to be able to bill more, right? We're going to continue to ask, what do our students need? How do we get them that? And if we can bill for that, cool. On Friday, I had our winter day-long meeting with our counselors, and we had that exact conversation. We looked at so many different kind of information sources to let us know how are students doing when it comes to their social, emotional, mental, behavioral health. What do they need? And you know, if we can bill for that, great. I think that what Ted told me today is that our district has one of the highest claim number care event is what they're called. Numbers of care events of any district in the state. And we're certainly not the biggest district in the state.
Wow.
So big shout out to our team. They're really incredible. They work very hard. They work good at what they do. We're really committed to keeping those positions. Not just our counselors, we have wellness coaches, right? And so SIPI is going well. And it would be better if we could seek reimbursement for more services.
Yeah. Can I ask a follow-up to that? I'm sorry, you guys,
Yeah.
but one thing, and because I especially like as a parent in the district, right? I get lots of notifications around it, like lots of notifications.
Yeah.
But I didn't truly understand until I was at the community voice gathering. I didn't truly understand that the consent billing, it covers whole class instruction from the counselors. That's right? I'm not misunderstanding. So I that didn't all come together for me. I think it's amazing. So
Yeah.
I think that's a real I think if more people, and again, maybe I just didn't read something thoroughly enough, I confess, but I think if people really understand, like they might think, oh, my kid's not gonna need any kind of one-on-one services.
Yeah.
Really that.
Yeah. That feedback is helpful. You know, you always think like, yeah, we've definitely got it this time. We've got communication, and then you hear, I heard from a parent in the district who's a counselor in another district, and asked me like, why do you keep asking for my kids' insurance information? It's like, I feel concerned for your district. So really like thinking through the ways if how we're communicating it thus far isn't landing, you know, or we can improve that. That's such helpful feedback.
Not my intention even to go there, just again, that like I learned more, you know, I learned more about the opportunity, and sorry to pull out on this topic, but I think it seems like it's a really important piece to
Yeah.
saving money.
Yeah. They're really related if you think about, you know, so I can't speak for you, but some of those like unknown costs that require adequate reserve is like, you know, there are districts in our county who, you know, have had to make residential placements for students, and it's for a single student over $500,000 per year. And one of the ways that you help to prevent that is to provide a really, really comprehensive preventative care. Right. And so it's the work that our counselors and our teams do is so multifaceted in that, and first and foremost and most importantly, meeting student needs, but then the prevention work and the ways that can save money down the road. It's all related, right?
I really appreciate the honesty or the irony that, you know, insurance is so helpful on this side, and yet it's absolutely crushing our teachers. You know, like we're getting this big, great help from insurance and that, and yet, you know.
I will clarify with SIPI, insurance is what allows us to draw that funding down, but it's a separate funding source that was set aside in the governor's budget, and so it's really confusing to understand. So it's a sustainability grant, and so for the first few years of the program, it comes from state funds with the idea that over time, insurance companies have to take that over. But right now, insurers aren't actually working over that money, but eventually they will.
I think that was helpful, the comment at the community voices about that, like, it doesn't draw on your, you know,
Yeah.
your max for the year. It's not gonna create, you know, a utilization increase for your insurance, and like, oh, you're using our insurance, we're
Yeah.
gonna raise your rates. Like, I think that's also really helpful to.
Yeah, and I think the example that Scott gave of COVID and getting those inflation of benefits for, you know, like $388 nose swab every 2 weeks of like, what? And not necessarily knowing that that's not money that you're paying when you get the paper and it seems like a racket.
Bill, yeah.
To date, and you know, check my email just to be sure, but like to date, we have not heard from a single family in the district that has happened. There's been a barrier or a concern from anyone, so. I'm happy about that.
Well, that's reassuring. Thanks for that example.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had that. Yeah.
To quote Scott, nothing on email. Not that specific.
Is there any other public comment on this topic in the room? Anything on email?
Nothing.
Okay.
Again.
Okay, we're getting there. Our
Getting
next
there.
topic is a discussion regarding board policy 1445, response to immigration enforcement.
So all board policies are important, but I think we could all agree in the current environment, this one takes really high priority. And so thankfully, California School Boards Association has provided a really thorough update. You will notice that it's all in red, meaning that it's going to be a new board policy. So when we bring forth the second reading, we will ask you to consider deleting the existing policy. So we're trying to follow the right order of operations with this. There's a lot to this. I think, you know, we can all understand the immigrant community that we serve, students, families, staff, and even those who aren't part of the immigrant community but may feel vulnerable given everything that is going on. We really want to get this right. And so I usually wouldn't do this, but because I don't want to miss anything, I'm going to read the memo because it covers a lot and it will explain it better than me trying to summarize it. So forgive me for reading, but I think the thoroughness here is warranted. So this new policy includes a significant amount of material that was formerly in board policy 5145.13, response to immigration enforcement, and addresses a district's response to immigration enforcement, including the new law, AB 495, which requires districts to update their policies by March 1st, 2026. That's why we're doing this now. With language that is equivalent to the model policy language developed by the California Attorney General in promoting a safe and secure learning environment for all, guidance and model policies to assist California's K through 12 schools in responding to requests for access and information for immigration enforcement purposes. That's a long title. Additionally, a new policy includes a list of actions that district staff are prohibited from undertaking unless an exception applies related to 1, citizenship or immigration status of a student or the student's family. 2, education records of any information about a student or a student's family or household. 3, personnel records, personal information or any other confidential information of an employee. And 4, permission to an officer or employee of an agency conducting immigration enforcement to enter property or facility or a non-public area where any district-sponsored program activity is occurring. In addition, new policy reiterates the prohibition against obstructing, interfering with, or otherwise impeding an officer or employee of agency conducting immigration enforcement who nonetheless enters district-provided transportation, a non-public area of any district property or facility, or a non-public area where any district-sponsored program or activity is occurring. New policy also includes the superintendent or designee is required to report to the governing board any requests by an officer or employee of an agency conducting certain immigration enforcement actions. 2, students may not be denied equal rights and opportunities or be subjected to unlawful discrimination, harassment, intimidation, or bullying in the district's programs and activities on the basis of the student's or family's immigration status, or for the refusal to provide information related to the student's or family's immigration status. 3, resources and data collected by the district are prohibited from being used to compile a list, registry, or database of individuals based on national origin, immigration status, religion, or other category of individual characteristics protected against unlawful discrimination. And 4, Superintendent or designee is required to provide parents and guardians with specified information and notifications related to immigration status or religious beliefs and their rights related to immigration enforcement. Additionally, new policy provides that complaints alleging discrimination, harassment, intimidation, and bullying based on actual or perceived immigration status may be filed in accordance with Board Policy 1312.3, Uniform Complaint Procedures, and the superintendent or designee provide to the California Department of Education copies of this policy, any associated administrative regulation, and any other board policies and administrative regulations required by Ed Code 234.7. So thank you for bearing with me on that. I just didn't want to miss anything. And so, you know, I guess in summary, in practice, I believe, you know, when this really first became an issue last year, our County Office of Education did a great job in leading the effort to make sure that we could protect our families and students in the immigrant community. And we had some really good trainings out at the school sites, issued red cards so that families knew what their rights were, the Know Your Rights cards, so that if families came into contact with, for example, a NICE agent, they knew their rights. We worked with the organization that is helping to provide childcare safety plans. So in the worst scenario, if a family did have you know, an impact where they were taken away, thinking of the right word, that doesn't sound horrible, that there could be already plans in place for the children of that family to be with a friend or relative. And so those are all the work that that's all the work that we already did. This just re-ups the ante to make sure that we're making schools a safe place. There's really no, you know, I know that we all believe that as a community and as a culture. It's just not a place, and schools should be safe, and not families shouldn't have to worry about this kind of activity. And this allows us to make sure we're providing a maximum protection. So policy catching up with practice in some way.
Great to have you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does this, I don't know, and I hopefully it never happens. We never have to worry about anything like that, but how does federal law compare to what we hear from the state? Because ICE agents are federal, I think, right? I mean, can we say the state, do you call a police officer if somebody comes in? Do you?
No, so.
And I'm just asking, I mean, this is.
Yeah, no, we've worked with the county office, and so protocols are really clear, like if that is happening, whoever sees it on campus immediately notifies principal or administrator and intervenes, principal intervenes, and then they call us, myself or designee will go. And you know, part of the training is knowing the right documentation, because there have been instances.
So you've had training, our designees will have.
Yes.
Oh, no.
There have been instances around where an agent comes in and says, you know, I have a warrant, I'm gonna come in and look. And it hasn't happened in our county, in a county school, in Santa Cruz County. It hasn't happened in a school, but there are other instances. And it wasn't the right documentation. So we have samples of the only subpoena that can be used to actually engage with schools. And so our front office staff are actually going to do a refresher this Friday at the front office staff meeting. So yeah, I think they're well trained, and we have signage up that makes it very clear. You can't just walk on campus. You have to go through the front office. So we kind of re-upped our signage on all of that. Just trying to take every safeguard possible.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
I know right now it's a discussion item. But typically if we discuss something and, you know, and it doesn't seem like it needs to come back as an action item, it goes in consent.
Yep.
I would just ask if the administrative team feels like it would be helpful after, assuming that it gets approved.
Sure.
After it gets approved, if it be distributed, possibly
Yeah.
translated, like what
Yeah.
can we do to better inform the community and the people who might be feeling the most impact and pain from what's currently happening and what we're all seeing happen in schools in Minneapolis.
Yeah,
How can we share this?
great point. We will make a concerted effort in all our different communication channels, website, superintendent's newsletter, principal's newsletter, to make sure that it's very accessible.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Questions or comments from the room? Yes?
God, I just want to say that the way you articulate the significance of it with the assumption in the room that we all feel the significance of it is what makes me proud to be in this room. There's so much about it that is.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thanks so much.
And to add to that, like, my first thought is like the fencing at our school is.
Good
Like,
now.
is that the first thing that's gonna happen? When we can?
Yes,
Or we're-
so well, I can't say first thing, but I can tell you for sure that it's being prioritized to get
Yeah.
perimeter
I
fencing.
just,
Yeah, we started at Main Street because that's where the SDC program is, and we had some
Okay.
elopers and yes, so but the time has come
Yeah,
for
no,
perimeter
that's
fencing at all of our
that's-
schools, yes, so. Yes, agreed.
Are there any comments on you?
We thought about that too, just saying, like, when we redid the schools and the school plans that we're looking at, all incorporates new fencing,
Yeah.
no gaps, and a much better perimeter. I mean, that's something we consciously talked about.
Changing the entrance point.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Like in the
Yeah.
Brighton,
Like
where they
signaling
enter.
everybody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nothing on email.
Okay. Well, this was a
Next.
discussion item, so it'll come back in consent.
Yep.
And then did you want to ask?
I did our next item is an action item, and it's an important and meaningful one.
Yeah.
And it's late, and we also had talked about reconvening into closed session. I'm wondering, timeline wise, is it possible to consider postponing that action item to the next meeting? If in the answer, I'm open to whatever. the answer is. I'm
I
just-
have to remember, this is part of my newly absorbed duty.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the deadline.
It says end of February in the board docket. That it's a new requirement that it be approved, that it be presented and approved prior to the end of February, and our next
Okay,
board
we have
meeting.
one more in February, so you
Yeah.
answered the question, yes.
I mean, obviously it's up to the
I
board.
got my vote.
It's-
Right here.
Ted, I know you want to stay longer, right?
That'll make a motion if you need it.
It's a lovely thorough slide deck, and I wanna, I wanna actually,
Yes.
give it the time that it deserves.
That totally makes sense to me, I'm on board.
Okay,
So just
do we need a motion? for that?
motion to table it.
Okay, is there a motion to table?
I'll make the motion since I brought it up.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Okay, great, we're gonna table action item 8A to our next board meeting. Any correspondence? Okay. We are going to move to adjournment of the open session, and then we are going to move back to closed session briefly. Do I need a motion to adjourn? Okay, may I get a motion to adjourn?
Okay, make the motion.
Yeah, take it.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Okay, thank you, we are.
We should really give out awards for people that stay at home.
All right, thank you, bye.